Okay, I had a heart attack. You guys weren't there for a second, and I'm like, what? And then you just appeared.
No, we were.
It's a
We were
conspiracy.
following you. We were being polite.
Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Team JYCT podcast. I am your host, Remy McNeil. Joining me, as always, is the wonderful Twilight Guardian.
Hello. I have the original Digimon that I had last week on my head again. Before I had the issues.
Also joining us is the glamorous Kaiser Shonen.
Hey, we land on a good one this time around. What's up, everybody?
Also joining us as guest host is Fatmanfalling.
Hey.
And we will be joined at some point soon by PeriodicPete. He's running a little bit behind, which means it's going to inevitably lead to scuff. So everyone just prep for that. We're gonna try and hold out until he arrives.
Brace for scuff pact.
Need like the moon from Majora's Mask and just scuff.
Oh yeah.
Instead of that face. Unfortunately, I Know Nothing has a job interview that cropped up basically last minute for him. So yeah, he can't make it. Oh, there he is. Hi, Pete.
Oh.
There
Hello.
we go. Yeah, we just started. So
Perfect
you're
timing.
making great time.
All right, stuff time.
All right.
Oh, he's become a madman. Listen to him laughing.
Hello.
All right, let's try and figure out where everyone is now. All right, so it's just Twy and him that we have to account for. So where do
Yeah,
I...
it's just a laugh of relief. But yeah, how is everybody else doing here in chat? Can y'all hear us okay? I'm pretty sure y'all can.
Yep, yeah, they should be able to. I would hope so. Dear God, save my soul otherwise.
So no pins this week. Well, thankfully enough, I asked I know to send us what points that he had it was important to say for this episode. So we'll be going through those as they will logically come up while we're going over this.
Oh, Adam Zelke, what's up? Who's ready for more money? Let's play money making game.
Let's go. Thanks a lot, dude. Dawn of the final scuff.
Also, Pete, if you want to right click on your Rahi tuber so you bring
Oh,
them
right.
with you.
Sorry.
Everyone can see.
My fault.
Yeah, all right, everybody. Okay, it's menu time, baby.
I was gonna say it's mostly because I can see the box around you, and it looks like you're being targeted by an armor core. So I mean, I don't know if you wanted that.
Well, I mean, why do you think I was late? I was running from a bunch of armored cores, man. All right, thank you.
You
really
cannot
saved my ass.
outrun an armored core, good sir. They travel like
Fucking
200
watch
miles an
me.
hour.
Watch me, good sir.
You don't know how fast he can run.
He runs at the speed of platinum, which is a solitary, stationary, immobile metal.
But I am all platinum in the universe, so therefore I can be both platinum that is as close or as far away from them as possible. So
There you go.
So if you're both,
if
that means you
one,
both fail to run away and you're always away. So it's like there's no running involved. You don't have
wait,
legs.
wait. What
I'm
if
sure
the
there's
armored
platinum.
cores are made of platinum? Then what?
oh shit! Then I
Damn.
possess.
You always win. You always win, Pete.
Well, if they're made of platinum, they can't be metal bent.
That is true.
I was gonna say, are we now playing Everything or Nothing 007? Like it's just suddenly having metal plated heavy armament. What is this?
Oh my God.
Adam Zelke, I just like throwing money so I can tell you guys lame jokes now and then. Oh, I don't know. Okay, so if you guys have seen it, who was the is it Based Binky? I want to say is the artist. They're drawing a this adorable new jester character called Pee Panini. That's her name, Pee Panini, and she's a complete girl failure, and she's adorable, and she tells horrible jokes, but she's so endearingly cute. It's like I highly recommend looking her up. That is our Adam Zelke is our Pee Panini. Let's see. M3D. Kaiser, still only ahead. Those repairs are cooked, bro. They using your body to farm Bitcoin. You're never getting it back.
I mean, listen, I want to slim down for the night. Is that so wrong? Jesus, bro.
He's really concerned about his weight, guys.
I mean, look, okay, I've been running around all day. I just want to what better way to relax than to just being a literal talking head, talking to other people. My favorite people.
Yes, episode 4,
Aw.
the episode that made all the Cat Vi shippers sing, "Do you hear the shippers sing? Singing the song of rabid fans is the music of a people who won't be denied again." I feel like there's a better version of that you could come up with.
Kaiser slimmed down to his exoskeleton. Exactly.
No, he still very much has his full like armor plating on. It's just his head.
Yeah.
The other half of his exoskeleton is also gone.
Yeah, it's just resting in the other side.
So,
of the
do you
room.
just like roll around places? Is that how you like get everywhere? Do you just like?
Yeah, he's rolling around at the speed of sound. Got places. Oh wait, no, that's the other blue guy. My bad.
I was gonna say wrong corporate entity.
Yeah.
One's Capcom, one's
Don't
Sega.
worry, I have. Don't worry, even my head has dash boosters, so I'm good.
Just this like one jet engine on the back of your fucking head, and just
I want to see that. Just like IDW decides to also reboot the Mega Man comics, and we just see disembodied X flying around.
I feel like the you'd kind of be like, what are they called from Gundam?
The ball.
Oh, the ball.
Yeah, well, not the ball. The little mascot characters.
Big Zam?
Oh, Haro.
Big Zam.
Big Zam.
Hey, look, Big Zam.
That isn't circular.
Yeah, but it's Gundam, so we have to put it in the conversation anyway. Hey, Big Zam.
Yeah.
Okay.
Hey, Big Billy Donuts, Zam. It's time for Big
Big
Billy
Billy
Donuts.
Donuts.
Yeah, Billy.
Hey, Billy.
Oh man.
We love your donuts, Billy.
Alrighty. Let me just double check something here.
Kaiser's doing his Mega Man, best Mega Man impersonation of the final boss of Star Fox. You mean Andros?
I today there was some guy, I can't remember, he's actually a relatively popular like podcaster, but I don't watch anything in his sphere. I just occasionally have seen him through other means, like on TV.
Okay.
And the man reminds me so much of Andros at the end of Star Fox 64. And I'm just like,
Wait,
that
really?
is very unfortunate. Very unfortunate.
Dude, you gotta send me that. I have never thought that anybody would look like him.
I mean, he didn't have the pointy ears, but he did just look like this big old man with the beard and the nose.
Yeah.
And like,
I mean, yeah, I would expect a guy in the real world to not have pointy ears, Raymond. I was very concerned about that.
I mean, you'd be surprised. Some people are crazy, man.
Did he sound like Andros?
Yeah.
No.
Sanity is stored in the ears.
That's unfortunate.
I'm just watching Fat Man's model. You changed your face so that you're constantly eating something. What are you eating?
I gave myself the disappointed eyes.
I mean, he could be chewing gum, you know.
Is that indicative of anything? Were you disappointed with episode 4, or?
I don't know. I forgot what happened in episode 4. Honestly,
I'm
It's been a
glad.
while since we've seen it.
That's a good sign.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was the one with the prison, right?
Correct. It is the Prism 3
Yeah.
episode.
I think Kaiser is the only one who did his due diligence and rewatched the
And
episode.
rewatched
I mean,
the episode. Yeah, well, we're gonna
granted,
rewatch it anyway, right?
Yeah, I
Yeah.
didn't rewatch the entire thing. I just like, looked
Yeah.
at specific parts of it that I think would be like the big thing.
And it isn't like I didn't I watched Smaller Soul does these great little first impression videos that he's actually really good at picking out interesting visual details, particularly. And I can't wait till he finishes the series so that I can actually have him here on the podcast with us, so we can be part of the conversation alongside Calaxon eventually, I hope.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
When are we gonna get them on?
Well, Calaxon said when we enter Act 3 to hit her up.
Okay.
She was nervous because she didn't want to be a Debbie Downer. Because she didn't like, she did not like season 2. And then the Smaller Soul, basically, he's only just gotten done with episode 5. I think he's watching episode 6 now, and he might be ready by the time we get to the end of the series. We'll have to see, depending how his workflow goes.
Well, it's gonna be a pretty big room at that point.
Oh yeah, I want to get a big old group of people discussing it. I like the idea of us not being able to understand a single person because we're all talking simultaneously.
Oh yeah.
We're all just talking at the same
that sounds
time.
so stressful.
We should all just mute each other and just talk at once.
No, well,
All
the
of
idea,
us
but
just-
but not without the muting. Just all of us talking at the same time.
Yeah. We're
would
just
leave.
all just saying all of our theses, I don't know, about like Act 3 all at once.
Exactly.
And all of us record for our own streams and our own like channels, so we can all have different mirrors of all of us just saying different shit.
And actually,
Did-
all
I
of
think
us
remember.
I think
are-
YMS did that once.
Put up the shit.
Oh,
Oh yeah, that was for the Catwoman commentary. I remember that.
Yeah.
Speaking of that, I keep forgetting to stream. It's like every Saturday rolls around and I'm like, yes, I can have a break after Bad Fan Fiction night. And then like at 6:00 at night, I'm like, wait, no, I was supposed to stream today.
It's the same
Oh, no.
energy of like, oh, I'm late for school. Oh wait, no, I'm 25. I'm a teacher.
Oh wait,
Yeah.
Same exact energy of like, oh fuck.
yeah, exactly.
oh,
That's been
brilliant.
my energy all month.
good lord.
All right, so how about we start diving into Arc 2 of Arcane, starting with episode 4. Name forgotten. I don't remember what they named this episode.
Paint the town blue.
Paint the Town Blue. There we go.
Are
So
you gonna stream for us?
because I had to pop out. Right, I forgot I wasn't
Yeah.
streaming anymore.
What? See, you're not alone, Twy.
Yeah.
Yeah. Also,
Alright, let me get
I wonder if I should. I'm not sure if I should turn up the mic or not, because I did my own stream last week on my channel and with Sai, a friend of the channel, Sai Scribbles. I think some of y'all were there for that, which was really fun. That was a real big surprise. I sounded a little bit quiet in retrospect on that, so I don't know how you guys feel about it.
I can hear you just fine.
Okay.
In fact, I could hear you a little
Yeah,
bit less. I'm
There's
kidding.
there seems to be a bit of a difference between like what we can hear in the actual call and then what everybody else hears in the actual stream.
Yeah.
Oh,
Okay,
actually-
well, you guys in chat, let me know if I'm too quiet.
Well, that might be why I hear you well, is because your user volume is higher than everyone else. So actually, maybe chat. Can you guys hear Kaiser already?
We're all used to it.
Yeah, we're all used to it. So, we start off Paint the Town Blue with basically again another musical montage, which is I do find it interesting how in season 1 they typically opened with a flashback of some sort for one of the focal characters of the episode. That's typically how they handle
Right.
it. But in season 2, they're using a lot of musical montages, I think, in the place of where they would have probably I am presuming that they got shortened down from multiple seasons down to 2. I think they're truncating a lot of what could have been or what should have been larger swaths of time down into these montages to convey the absolute bare minimum you need to understand what's going on at any one given point. Adam Zelke says, I'm slightly disappointed that instead of Jinx fully pushing the gray into Piltover so they know the... Uh-oh. Guys? Hello?
Hello?
What?
Yeah?
Noah?
My
Yep.
Brave browser just crashed.
Oh no.
Oh, dear.
Oh, shoot.
One moment. I'll get that back open.
I mean, just generally to what you were saying, yeah, I really thought that was going to be a bigger plot point than it was.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, just like the kind of conflict between the two. Lot more focus on just kind of the stuff that comes up. Maybe even showing more gradual of what the effects that led people to see Jinx as a savior and less as, Silco's #1 headhunter. And it does kind of give that impression. Like, it's even more noticeable when, like, really the only music videos per se, not to say that there weren't like instances of scenes that just fit really well with like music, but like actually stylized musical moments. I think there was the Jinx versus Echo fight, and I actually don't know what else there really was beyond that. Maybe you could count like the parts of the Dear Friend Across the River as somewhat stylized, that it could potentially be defined as a music video, but then
I
like
think
that
the only
basically
other one was like the one that was establishing the firelights.
yeah sorry, I don't, that's the one I always keep forgetting because it always felt so very
Yeah, it was just
kinda
kind
tacked
of
on.
there.
It was like
Yeah.
it's one of those things that like I get kind of annoyed at how little the firelights get focused on, because like they were this
know.
late entry into like, weirdly they were introduced very early on in season 1, then forgotten about until the end of episode 6, and then they
Yeah.
really didn't do much. It was much more about Echo, and then they don't really do anything here until the very end of the season. It's like,
Yeah, you like
It's a
it's
whole
another one of those
faction.
kinds of things that is kind of being truncated in place of this music video, is like kind of wanting to know what a lot of the different factions kind of think of all the stuff that's been going on, the death of the other Chem Barons, Piltians and Noxans taking over the Undercity, the big display that happened at the end of episode 3, and how they see all this, what all the, it's kind of, and like the firelights are kind of a big part of that, is that they were themselves established as a faction in season 1, and now they're there.
Yeah,
sort
now
of.
they're just kind of tacked on
Yeah.
there.
They're on the same rung as the washed up goons and the Zaunites, or sorry, the Zaunites in general, but like the washed up goons and the Jinxers.
yeah, I was gonna say all the different factions down in Zaun got boiled down into the singular Zaun faction, which I think does do a disservice to the more complicated nature of the politicking that was going on in the
Yeah.
background.
The animosity between like so many of the different factions, never mind, like it was never just Silco's team and everyone else. All the people who were working under Silco all had their own kinds of, they kind of wanted to split off from Silco, as shown in season 1, and then as we see here, a lot of them started to fall out with one another and fight amongst one another. We have all the people who didn't like Silco, which at least is not limited to just the firelights, but they're just the most
like,
notable
general
ones.
citizens and stuff.
Yeah.
The firelights were the most notable.
And now we have this new faction, the Jinxers, and there's a lot of stuff you could be doing with this, and it's focused on much less compared to something akin to how it would be in like season 1, I feel, and it's a little disappointing.
Yeah. Also, to finish out Adam Zelke's point, because I got cut off in the middle of it.
Yeah, sorry.
I'm slightly disappointed instead of Jinx fully pushing the grain to Piltover so they know the Undercity's pain, it feels like she's just detonated some big paint bombs. I agree. I thought that was actually going to be a much bigger point, but it just turned out to be a fear tactic that motivated them into the invasion.
The only like citizen from Piltover that got grayed, I guess we could call it, was just the little kid, I believe, that Ambessa was using as a emotional tool to gaslight everybody to becoming a dictatorship last episode, and that was basically it as far as this show is willing to show us. So I'm like, okay, what was the impact of that other than just
Well,
all
it
this other
could
stuff?
have been that like that was never her intention in the first place, but she used a child and maybe had grade him up herself in order to use him as a political pawn.
Just seeing Ambessa
that-
just like, hey child, hold still, and just shove its face down into a vent, just breathe deeply. Yep. Breathe.
Yeah.
Because it really could have been just as simple as, Jinx trying to clear the Undercity of the gas. And,
Yeah.
Since there's no since it's, just open air in the surface, then it just dissipates.
Yeah, and I think that
guess,
that's how the system was supposed to work in the first place, but for whatever reason, it just never got to that. And she was essentially using it in order to twist the narrative in her favor. So it like she managed to find something positive out of this thing that Jinx did in order to get what she wanted in the end.
No,
Yeah.
that, and from that standpoint, yeah, it makes sense for Ambessa to do. All I'm saying is that I can believe that the gas would inevitably sort of dissipate as it got shot out of the freaking the system that they were in.
It's more like
is,
I question
yeah,
what Jinx's intent with with that stunt was exactly. Like, was it just to piss people off and send a message of like we can do this too, or was there a more permanent intent behind that in terms of like we're going?
Yeah, because
to
the way
poison
she was
you? Like,
going
I'm not
about
entirely sure
things
what her
like
goal
prior
was.
to that made it seem
Guys,
like she was
stop
gonna
talking
do
over
more
each other.
damage.
Oh no,
Oh, sorry. He cut out from my end.
I was
so
ceding
didn't
him
even hear
ground.
him.
No, I think it might have just been Discord. Anyway, continue your thought.
Oh yeah, I was just saying that like from the way she was talking about the way she was gearing up prior to that moment made it seem like she was planning on doing something that entail way more significant damage. But it ended up just being, we're just gonna blow up this system and paint a bunch of places. That's
Paint the
about
town blue. Right
Well, I
all
don't-
around you.
I don't think that she wants to do something as grandiose as that. Like, obviously she's frustrated at Piltover. Mostly I think that she just wants to send a message of leave us alone sort of thing. Like, we're not going to take your shit anymore, but we're not really going to fight back with you. Because I think after she killed Silco, a lot of her anger and a lot of other things that drove her to do the things that she did has just died off.
Mm-hmm.
Like she didn't obviously realize that was going to have that effect on her, but it did. So she just no longer cares.
Yeah, I agree.
Okay, well, let's see. So we get the formation of the Jinxers, which is in, I guess, retaliatory response. They took the inspiration from Jinx's infamy to be a resistance against the. Really, it's the Noxians who are at the forefront of this. Even though Caitlyn is in charge, it's kind of clear that Noxians are more or less the ones running the show in terms of like their disciplinary efforts, and always Caitlyn is pictured with Ambessa at her side. So it's kind of interesting to see that the guard has been effectively taken over by a military presence
From another country, no less.
From another country, which is
Yeah.
kind of huge. And it doesn't look like the council is really doing anything. It looks like the council is basically defunct, which I think is going to be a whole. Sorry, I just saw the screen. I never realized this before, but Twilight babble 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 babble. Only the true believers get that reference. And we also get some good shots of like, Caitlyn carrying animosity towards Jinx this entire time and being like driven more and more down a rabbit hole. And I can't remember if it's a shot in this montage or later where we see her face superimposed over Jinx, and I think she's starting to realize what Vi had said to her down in the catacombs was true, that she is acting more and more like Jinx, that she's lashing out in a similar way, just through different means.
Yeah.
Also, Isha, who's looking up at all of this, and like, I guess she's the one drawing all this blue everywhere. So I'm not entirely sure if it's clear that she's the one that's actually created the jinxers by incidentally based upon her graffiti, or if she's doing it just because she's inspired by Jinx and all the stuff that's going on around them. I'm not entirely sure which came first, the Isha or the egg.
That is a lot to do for like a child who's.
Well, I don't think she's organizing anything. I think she's just doing graffiti, and it's like kind of inspiring people.
I feel like, well, we'll get to that, but yeah,
It's a lot to do for a child who can't even reach that high.
Look, step ladders exist.
Well, yeah, like that's actually a comment I have. I mean, partially for that, if we're assuming that graffiti was made by her, but there's another part later that we'll get to eventually.
All right, Mel does her little scrim. And we pick up in Caitlyn's bedroom, where she is doing some quiet meditation on basically everything that happened. And absolutely nothing of implication happens in this scene. It's just her having a sleepover with Maddie. That's what the Chinese market told me.
Yeah.
If you guys haven't seen the edited version for Chinese markets, it's hilarious how awkward they had to cut around conversations like this. Is
fucking hilarious. Like, especially the one from the last episode.
where like Caitlyn is like leaning her head on nothing. It's like, what?
It's just like, kid, are you all right there?
Yeah.
Why is your neck bent like that? There's nothing supporting it. But yeah, she's lamenting that she has an audience with the Masters Guild, and we see that Caitlyn is a cheating whore who deserves no love or no, I'm kidding.
Yeah, I feel like, I mean, like, if we're just talking about like just the realms of cheating, I assume that what happened last episode was a breakup.
Absolutely.
Yeah, 100%.
No, it's the ghost of her mom. She was there the whole time. Wait, what is that referencing? Oh, it's right. You're leaning her on the shoulder. Yeah, okay, it makes sense. I was like, wait, her mom's in the room right now, or what? Is she watching this? What's going on?
Is the ghost of your mom in the room with us?
Caitlyn, really, why are you going it from that angle? You should please... No, legs over the shoulders. Please, be proper, and when you're done eating, you dab your face with a handkerchief like a true gentle lady.
No.
all the pegging lessons untaught.
There's no gay embossing say.
Just the idea
there
of
is no
Caitlyn,
Lesbian Lex in Boston.
Cassandra just being like, no silverware. Really? What are we, barbarians?
No.
Yeah.
Implications.
I know. But basically, she's going to be meeting with the Masters Guild, and Maddie assumes it's because of the complaints against the Noxians. And Caitlyn confirms that. But it's interesting that Maddie already picked up on that immediately. Innocuous at the moment, but in retrospect, interesting. She's already trying to reaffirm Caitlyn in her quote-unquote beliefs, that everything done here, especially Noxians trying to double their fortifications, is all for everyone's safety, to keep the peace. And then she cops a feel and hugs her. I
Who
only just
would
now
not
noticed
sit in
that,
that
like her
position?
hand's slipping under the robe there. And Caitlyn's like lamenting that she never wanted this to go on and didn't know what she wanted, but it wasn't this. And it's, the lament of someone who needed to do something they didn't want to, which, when you're enacting, well, what's the term? Koreans just try to launch it. Martial law, that's it. When you're enacting martial law, I can see a good-hearted ruler like Kate being kind of conflicted about it. And I think she is, which it's interesting considering the last episode kind of left us on the note that she might be a much harder core Caitlyn than we presumed, which might be a bit on the table for discussion considering the last time we left her, she was fuming over the fact that she didn't get her crack at Jinx. And she was pissed at Vi for having upset that. But by the time that those two reunite later on, things have seemingly cooled between them. What are we thinking here? What are we feeling about this?
Or at least in Kate's mind, like she maybe not like specifically in reference to Vi, but I mean, yeah, it's just one more thing that feels like a lot was kind of skipped over that probably shouldn't have, or like we might at least that we could have benefited from like actually seeing.
I think in the idea sense, it's sort of believable because it's more so about the fact that Caitlyn is aware enough to know that she is partially being, she's partially being played off. Just being played by Ambessa, right? And having that, and she understands that, yeah, Ambessa definitely has goals for the city outside of just containing the Jinx problem. So you have that as a factor in there. I don't really have an issue with them, reuniting and her being on board with, spoiler alert, I guess, backstabbing her. I guess my issue was that there was way less of a back and forth towards that decision, even keeping in mind the whole thing about, Vi is trying to save her dad, which, Caitlyn understands how important that is to her. But I'm of two minds when it comes to that.
We end the prior episode on this high of Caitlyn basically taking a step into tyranny and the hard edge of like control. And now we're fast forwarding presumably months, if not like several weeks, probably months, because of how built up Victor's commune is. And she's mellowed out, and it's like that. Not saying that can't happen, not saying that wouldn't have happened, but it is interesting that we chose not to explore that period of time.
Mm-hmm.
So that was my commentary on it, and I would have liked to see that period of. I would have liked to see more of Maddie and her relationship starting. Like, just how does that happen?
Just all of the squad, all of like.
Oh yeah, that too.
Kate's squad.
Pretty much. What does Ocean Man think about this? That's the real question.
Ocean Man, take me to the land where you have dialogue.
And lots of character.
We can understand.
Okay. But so the point of that is like I would have loved to see like Maddie and like the machinations, knowing who she is now with her later betrayal. It would have been interesting to see her actually seduce Caitlyn, and like the way she could, like, her whole thing is that she's like the innocent kind of young-hearted, happy-go-lucky loyalist to Piltover, like the diehard in the wool Piltover purist or whatever. Like she really wants to do best for Piltover. But like it would have been interesting to see her keep that persona and somehow still slip into Caitlyn's bedroom. Like try and play up like the, oh, you're flattering me, Miss Kierman, and like that sort of stuff. Like play the, you're seducing me, I'm not seducing you kind of card. I would have loved to see that dynamic, because on first watch through, that could have been a great like, oh, Caitlyn really on the rebound here. And then in retrospect, you could be like, oh, I mean, she was, but like that was being pulled at. That was a string that was being tugged, which I think would be way more interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Steb
Ooh,
Fishman is like,
Zelky.
what am I, the third, fifth wheel? Maddie is Kate's new GF. Loris is helping Vi's drunk ass to bed. What the fuck, man?
Yeah.
Fishman, you're the one that gets to live at the end.
Yeah.
That's true.
You know what? Maybe that's
Yeah.
the rule. The less dialogue you have, the more
Yeah.
likely you'll live at the end.
Because I know if we kill this guy, no one's gonna care.
Oh yeah, 100%.
I would care.
I would have cared.
thought
I'm
that
being
he
honest.
was-
Honestly, that last moment with him making the run with the bomb was fucking badass. That man deserves
was.
such a high honor.
100%.
Like, he's not around very much, but I thought that there was a bit of a charm to him with how earnest he was at his job.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Which is interesting because, like, he's always seen paired with Maddie, which
Mm-hmm.
really contrasts the later betrayal. Is like, oh no, the reason why we were kind of false is he was her partner and he's genuine. It's like,
Yeah.
Eric Steb will become Mel's love interest for the spin-off show.
Sean Full Dark says, let's be honest here. I would have liked to see Maddie pull at least a Mary Jane. You want Maddie to pull out some weed?
it's the trap. She's like, "What are you, a cop?"
Adam Zelke, the less dialogue you have, the less likely you are to die. Looks at Isha. Okay, fair.
Oh,
Fair.
Yeah,
Well, yeah, there's that.
there's the outlier.
I mean,
So-
she has grunts, which is more than what Ocean Man has. Right?
No, it's less likely, not impossible. There's a difference.
True.
There can be outliers. There can be outliers.
Right.
So interestingly, Maddie suggests that to kind of assuage Kate, suggests that she could pull out from the underground. That they could actually call off the entire invasion. They could reestablish the council, thereby establishing the council is no longer established. Like, all you have to do is give the order.
So, sorry, I'll let you finish.
I find it interesting because knowing what we know about Maddie, is this opposed to what she wants? Is this a double speak type situation where it's like, oh yeah, no, you can totally do this. You can totally take a break. And it's like the idea is like you're kind of guilt tripping them into not, like, you know, reverse psychology. That's where I'm looking for.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
I think the thing is that the unfortunate thing about her not having enough screen time or like not having enough room to display her character is that I don't know if there's enough to make any kind of conclusions. Because like something else that I've also wondered is if at this point she is even allied with Ambessa, or if like that is something that happened after the fact to kind of like after Vi came back into the picture somehow, or if there was something else like that. But there's and like I don't feel like that's any more likely than what you're suggesting. But the unfortunate thing is that we don't see enough of her to kind of confirm one way or the other. It's part of still more reason why I'm a little bit disappointed.
I do see your point that we don't know for sure if she was allied by Ambessa at this point. I think it's safe to presume that. However, your other point here, I think the rest of her character does go largely unexamined. The best we get is at the end of the season with a still frame, which I find also interesting. I mean, there are some points, but it's like it mostly does with her. It mostly revolves around her position in the plot as opposed to an actual character. She's more of a tool in the narrative, if that makes any sense. It feels like.
Yeah. Like, worst case scenario is that they made her a traitor, like, just to, I don't know, clear the air, you know, so it's not like, oh,
so you can sell Vi and Caitlyn.
Yeah, it's just like, oh yeah, nobody's gonna ship these two because
Maddie's voice actress confirmed that Maddie is Noxian. Okay, I wish that was in the show.
Yeah.
I mean, I kind of assumed that the moment that we learned that she was working for Ambessa, so.
Yeah, I mean, spy's gonna spy, I guess.
Like, who is out here thinking that Maddie works for Ambessa but is native to Piltover?
Honestly, I could see it. I mean, I could honestly, because Piltover is such a large and metropolitan like location, I could easily see anyone in there having their own motives towards like allying with a major.
I think that that's a bit of a stretch in terms of like that, because it's just a lot more simple to just assume that Maddie came to Piltover with Ambessa, that she has always worked for Ambessa.
Oh no, I'm fully on board with like that is the is it the not the Damocles' sword, it's Occam's razor. Occam's razor. Why am I say Oh no, I'm getting
Oculus razor.
I'm getting bleed over from the Artemis Fowl movie, the Oculus. Ah. Oh god, that movie has ruined me.
We gotta find the one ginger Noxian.
Well, yeah, I was gonna say like I presume that as well. There's just such a dearth of information on like, well, is she just a regular Pilty citizen when she joined the guard? Like, was she a Noxian, like born in Noxus? Was she like not born to Noxus parents in Piltover? Like, there are different little elements that could have been sprinkled in to give us a little bit of a hint towards what was going to come with her, instead of just kind of dropping it on our laps and being like, oh, well, I guess in retrospect, we see like what she was doing, but it didn't feel like we got we didn't get anything out of those moments that indicated what it was going towards, if that makes any sense. It's like it wasn't as well foreshadowed as it is back built, which is exactly what she told Caitlyn to get in her bedchambers. Anyway.
Oh my god! I'm the moment that you paused. Okay.
I don't know. I don't think that information is as necessary as other things. I think it's just kind of a little bit quibbly.
No, I'm not denying it's quibbly. I would have liked, like, it's one of those things, I wanted more from this character, and I just got like the bare minimum.
Well, that's the thing, though, is that like there were a lot of characters who were like very much, background characters, and like in the sense also had backgrounds that were very quibbly, but like at the same time were also kind of fleshed out in those kinds of that was part of the reason why it was part of the charm of like season 1. Like Deckard is always the first one that I point to as one such character, is that he is such a background character and you don't really need to know anything about him, and technically you don't, but through a lot of his actions you find out about a lot of his different about his character, how you see him act outside of Silco's orders, how you kind of put two and two together about what motivates him to do that, as parallels to what motivates him to take the shimmer in response to Silco's own inspiring speech about power and what it takes to take it. And you get pieces about his character, this like background nothing of a character, and you get a lot from him. And there are lots of characters like that in season 1, and it's part of the reason why I am disappointed that characters like Maddie, like Shield Guy, and Ocean Man kind of weren't, is that it's not necessary. It's not that it's necessary, it's that it is less than what season 1 gave us.
Oh, that's who that is. I'm sorry, I had to look up who the fuck Deckard even was.
Yeah, no, Deckard's one of those guys that like it's one of those things. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. It's like the point is like Deckard's not a character.
I literally do not remember this man appearing in the series whatsoever at all.
He was the first person to get punched.
He was the one who I want to say, well, I mean, he didn't kill well, he took out Vander before he went all shimmered up.
He killed Benzo.
He killed Benzo. Another background character I feel was done.
Yeah, I was gonna say Deckard is one of those characters. Like, it's what's great about season 1 is that there are a lot of background characters that don't like they're used as props like you would normally have like an action movie goon. But instead of just being an action movie goon, well, the leader of those goons actually has a character that, if you really pay attention, you can dissect. You can actually be like, oh, interesting. There's this detail about him, like the way he behaves in the background, what he's doing in this scene. There's always different little details, and we get a dearth of that with a lot of the background characters in this season. Ironically, Deckard is still around in season 2. He didn't really get ahead
Oh yeah,
in things.
yeah. He is around. He's not.
I thought he was dead.
No, he is dead. But like he does appear in like one of the post.
I'll give you a hint. My joke there was a pun, Kaiser.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
His
Oh,
head
yeah,
appears
I'd
in
say-
his head
I'd
appears
say-
in Sinch Lab.
I'd say that
Okay,
he should quit while he's ahead, but he's a little bit ahead of me on that.
I didn't see. I
He'll
don't
never
remember
be the
seeing
head
his
of a
lab.
major corporation. That's enough. That's enough. That's enough, Austin. All right, okay, let's get it.
Oh, maybe that's just the thing with me. I didn't pay attention to any character that wasn't really relevant to the story. So, like, you're talking about all of these things that you found out about this background ass character, and I'm like, I literally do not remember him existing in the story at all.
Well, another character I really
is
like. No, go ahead,
on.
Kaiser. I'm gonna go off on like a rant, so like you get what you got to say out of the way.
Okay, I was just going to say that which is fair and all, and like I said, I think not I said, like the others said, what they do with the characters here in this season isn't necessarily bad. It's what you would expect from probably most stories that use their background characters. They're fine. It's just a different it's just different from what the expectation were of similar place characters in season 1. I think I said this in like the first episode when we started doing this covering season 2, but yeah
season 1 set the bar really fucking high, and part of the disappointment of season 2 is mostly like there's a lot of mechanical problems that I think are genuinely worth criticizing, but there's a lot of more disappointment on the scale when it comes down to I wish we had gotten more here and here like we had in season 1, where you could piece a lot of things together if you really wanted to. Like, and it's like, yeah, that's really where I think a lot of people are coming from with their critiques of season 2.
And I find that kind of a little bit annoying to a certain extent, because in some ways they almost treat season 2 like it's worse than a genuinely terribly written season of a show, simply because it's not as good as what they wanted it to be.
Yeah, no, that's definitely a syndrome. I don't deny that. Yeah,
I'll
Pete,
have to see because it depends on like what those people are talking about. Like I think I've said this before, I have yet to watch anybody's actual critiques of season 2. Well, except for one video, the video that I covered in my live stream, which I thought was going to talk about season 2 and how it failed. But then 90% of it wasn't even about season 2. It was just about ranting. It was repeating fucking Lily Orchard talking points, which is why Sai came in just abruptly on my stream.
So Pete, you have a hot dish to serve, as I understand.
Oh, actually, no. I decided I was just gonna gush over Grayson, another background character that I really liked in season 1. So, and I don't want to. Yeah,
Okay.
that's all. I feel like it was probably better.
Cool though.
Yeah. Oh,
I mean,
she
you
had that
can.
cool
I'm
voice.
gonna have to look up who that is, though.
She was
Was
the
that the guy with the kid?
she
no,
was-
Grayson was the
Right,
former
no.
police chief.
Yeah, she was the one before Marcus. And like, it was another one of those kinds of. She was just another one of those like really interesting characters in the sense that like she was again another background character who was only around for like 2 episodes and then got unceremoniously killed off. Even though she actually had a lot of these seemingly important connections, besides being essentially the mentor for Marcus, who would eventually take her place, and as we
Right.
find out later, was actually kind of had a lot of respect for her. We also found out that she was close friends, or at least like really good acquaintances with Vander. We found out in a flashback that she was part of the inspiration for what made Caitlyn want to become an enforcer later, with the little shooting tournament that they had with one another. There were like all these little interesting connections that they had with one another, and she seemed like a very interesting character. And then just the fact that she was revealed to just kind of be killed off in this kind of way, like even though she was a background character, she never felt like a background character.
I'm
There's
actually
just a
kind of
lot of
disappointed
people
she
like
never
that in
gets
Arcane.
referenced in season 2. Like there's no reference to her whatsoever, which I find just sort of like her or Marcus. It's like,
Hey, Raymond.
yeah.
Do you like? I remember this character, but do you remember how I said that one of the things that I actually would complain about with Arcane and its art style is that I can't tell some characters apart.
Yeah.
I did that with Victor and Silco. I thought they were the same person and that he was like kind of doing a sneaky sneak thing.
I vaguely remember that. What's your point with Grayson then?
I couldn't tell her apart from Savika.
Ah. So what I'm hearing is that Twilight's racist.
How? Silco and Victor are white.
You can be racist against white people. We were talking about that the other day, I'm pretty sure. We've had people that have been racist against white people before.
I'm not saying that you can't be. I'm just saying that, like, I'm not discriminating based off of race. So.
I was gonna say, Twi, we've bitched about the French before. It's fine.
It's not racist if it's against the French.
Or
you
the
keep
British.
them on their toes.
Yeah.
As an Irishman, I'm allowed to hate both.
Oh, well, yeah.
Celtic Phoenix for president 2028. Twilight is a racist. That would be the weirdest slogan, just Twilight is a racist. And it's like, how is that applicable to anything? It's just like, I have like posters and stuff. It's like that's my only slogan, and I somehow get elected.
Yeah.
Um,
See, it would have been better if you said Kaiser was racist. That would actually get people on board.
okay, but people will confuse you for the actual Kaiser Wilhelm.
No, but that's part of the. That's part of how you get them.
But Kaiser Wilhelm, I don't think actually, like, I don't know much about him, but he wasn't like. I kind of hate that he gets lumped in with Zephyra, like for that stuff. Germany just like. Gets a really bad rap for that 5-year period, which, yeah, a lot of shitty people existed in that 5-year period. But, you know, Germany had a good run before that and then after that.
Yeah, the big H made the rest of them look bad, yeah.
All right. So
Build off a whole name.
a whole 2 names.
I suppose, yeah.
So, yeah, adorable.
Bless you. I'm guessing that was a sneeze.
That was a sneeze. That was absolutely a sneeze.
Yeah.
Nosebleed? It sounds like it might be nosebleed.
No, it's just very, very hurtful sneeze. That's all.
Kaiser Wilhelm liked the film. No, okay, I gotta clarify. Political talk when any politician comes out and says, "Oh, I like that guy" or whatever, it's like, "Oh yes, he is a noble politician," whatever. I do not take word at that. If there's personal journals to that effect, maybe, but even then they do know that those will be scrutinized after their death. So like there's always with politicians you're never going to really know their true thoughts unless they're crazy.
Unless
Big
they
H.
record everything that happens in their office.
Yeah. So Caitlyn basically says, "Yeah, no, we can't pull out Giggity without Jinx."
I was waiting.
And a withdrawal could lead to a worse situation than the one. And Maddie, again, she's like joking, okay, Ambessa, which, you know, reaffirms Caitlyn is swallowing the Ambessa juice. I realized how that sounded the minute I started saying it, and I was just like, that. I didn't intend it that way, but you know what? I guess we're just down this hole.
The worst part is you didn't say drink, you said swallow.
With all these innuendos, I'm surprised these two don't have a goon box.
Who says I don't? Like I said, it's outside. Everyone has a goon box outside their door. Remember, we've been over this.
So, yeah. Well, no, I thought that was I thought that was a
Noxian thing.
A Noxian thing. Yeah, in Piltover they use the sock on the door. That's why she came in there and.
Right.
Yeah, she was confused when she busted into
just busted in general.
Yeah.
He was confused while busting.
Damn it!
We need to stop.
Okay, we need.
No.
But yeah, so basically, Caitlyn is down in the Kool-Aid, and she's even she's so cognizant of it, and Maddie's calling her out on it a little bit, which I find interesting. Like, I'm not quite. Is it more that Maddie's trying to distract her from the problems, or is it like she's trying to reverse psychology? There's a lot about this moment that I'm not entirely sure what the goal is here, other than it's hilarious when Maddie's basically very clearly like, come on, I'm going to drag you back to bed. And then Caitlyn's like, I'm going to keep on thinking. It's like,
I think it's a little bit of both, where it's like, I guess, in a small way, it's like a bedside Xanathos gambit, as you can call it, where it's like, okay, if she decides to, give in, that'll increase my pull towards her. And if she keeps thinking, then she'll probably keep doing what Ambessa has in mind. So, it's sort of a win-win.
Cameron Bailey, were we rating Maddie? By the way, I feel like a 4 and I'm being generous.
Oh, wow.
What the
okay.
Okay, there is not a character in this show that ranks below a 7 out of 10. Yes, I'm including Jericho on that list. But like Maddie has like the cute girl next door charm down to a fucking science. That is a solid 8 or 9 out of 10, buddy. I don't know what you're smoking.
I was about to say, if she was in like the early 2000s, people would be all over her today.
Like, people aren't all over. The only reason people aren't all over her right now is that she's a homewrecker by a lot of people's measure, even though that's not true. If it's just because she's
Not
ginger,
in the way of the
fuck
OTP,
you.
that means that she has to die.
If it's just because she's a ginger, fuck you, kindly, from the bottom of my heart.
Yeah, no, having that soul knocks you up about like 6 points.
It's apparently not the only thing that's being knocked up.
God damn it, Pete. I was about to... I wanted to turn.
Again, legitimately not intentional.
See, this is the Maddie double speak, okay?
But I can see this in a sense of like, it's her job to get close to her. So even if it's technically going against what Ambessa wants, to say things in order to keep herself close to Caitlyn, it's still ultimately a benefit.
I think I got it. I actually think I got it. What's going on in this scene? She is quite literally the comfort for Caitlyn.
Yeah.
She is the thing that soothes Caitlyn's conscience and tells her, you are still in control of the situation. You're in charge. This is all your ideas. It's not Ambessa doing this. It's you doing this. These are your ideas. You're the fucking dictator of this goddamn city. You can do whatever you want.
The Virgin Goon Cave versus the Chad Comfort.
I mean, yeah, exactly. But that goes into what I said earlier. That it's like either way. It still benefits, her and by extension Ambessa, because she's still getting closer towards her and feeding into her vices.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so I think that makes a lot more sense now, figuring that out. And now she's giving Caitlyn a good old sniff, and
Ew.
The Fresh Prince of Smell Hair.
Wait, what did Caitlyn say? I'll come to bed?
Yeah,
I'll come to bed soon. Oh, okay. So no, she's going off to do something. Got it.
Sorry, was that a typo? Did she mean come in bed soon?
Boo!
I think
that's a low hanging fruit.
Okay, I think we've run this one out.
Yeah, you guys are just stretching for those sex jokes now. Give it a rest.
I'm resisting. Every sentence you guys are saying, I can keep it going. It's hilarious, but I'm going to refrain.
I know what I'm doing.
So then we get the reintroduction to Jinx after this major time skip and spending time with Isha, where she's introducing a huge fighting tournament going on. And What was everyone's thoughts on this opening to this scene? In
I
general?
thought that it
Oh, I
was,
thought it was
fun.
Yeah, I thought it was fun,
Mm.
but me and Fatman in our reactions thought it went on a little too long to the point it's like, okay, now we get the
Yeah.
joke. It's like, we get the joke.
I can see
We
that.
get the joke.
I
Okay.
remembered watching this thinking that I think you guys caught on to that a lot quicker than I did. But because I remembered watching it, I was thinking, oh, is this actually going to be at like some kind of rally with like the rest of the Jinxers or something like that? And then I saw it like it was comprised only of close-ups of Jinx and Isha, and then also these monsters. We don't actually see where they are, and I was slowly piecing. Oh, yeah, okay, no, I know what it is. And then after that, it started to go on a little bit too.
Yeah.
Yeah,
which-
I've seen similar setups in like other shows before, so it's I don't really blame you.
Yeah, it's not bad. It's not a
I
bad
didn't-
joke. I just thought it wore out its welcome just like by maybe like 10, 20 seconds, something like that.
I don't necessarily agree. Like, the whole point of having fun with a scenario like this is to keep up the act.
Yeah, no, I also recognize that it could very much mileage may vary on this.
Yeah.
I don't think
You know,
there's a mechanical
comedy-
flaw.
You know, comedy
mean-
is all in the timing.
I saw this from like
Timing!
Isha's perspective.
I know that reference.
Yeah, no, I could definitely like. Okay, I guess that does make it better, I suppose, in how long it goes on. Also, Isha out here cosplaying Tiny Tina from Borderlands with her little wings. And it's just a cute scene showing that these two just hang out together and are having fun. Complaining about the buggos who then fly away, which I'm surprised they don't fly away more. And I'm thinking about it now. How long did it take for you guys to paint these fucking bugs?
Yeah, it's not
I mean,
like
that's
the
probably the fun part.
crabs.
Yeah.
Sure, no.
You say that. I've been working on Gunpla. I just finished a master grade frickin' Freedom Gundam.
Strike, well, not Strike Freedom.
Oh
just
God, no! Why would I get Strike Freedom? That thing's gaudy as hell.
Ew.
Okay, thank you.
The the classy original Freedom Gundam, and that took me forever.
All right.
It took me forever to apply the decals, and those were just stickers.
You should have heard him like sweat over them.
We were in a
That
call
reminds
together.
me-
I'm sitting there like, no, don't. Fucking dry rub is the bane of my existence.
Yeah, you know, at some point I feel like stickers are more stressful than paint. Because, like, you can just paint back over it if you fuck up. With
Yeah.
stickers, it's like you gotta peel it off, and it's like, oh, it's gonna rip. No.
Yeah.
While I was at a con last December, I went to a gotcha machine pretty much the first time ever. I got a tiny miniature gotcha machine inside the gotcha ball, which I thought was
Oh, no.
adorable. I had to assemble all of it. And
Yeah.
like, I don't just mean I had to assemble the machine. I also had to assemble all the little ball. It's a working gotcha machine, by the way.
Oh,
It's a
no.
working miniature gotcha. So I had to assemble all the little things, and I also had to put on little stickers on the thing that you put inside the little balls. And it
Oh my
was there were a
God.
bunch of. And here's the thing too, is that like the little decals on this thing are like to scale with like a real gotcha machine. So a lot of them are like so small you can't even read what the fuck is even on them. And it was so obnoxious. But it looks amazing though right now though. But like, good God, I don't want to do that again.
The Seed Freedom Yamato mode?
Oh, see,
Yamato
is that the Jesus? No, I'm not the.
What-
if you
what
haven't
is
seen
that?
it. That might be. Are you just making a reference to the Church of Jesus Yamato, or are you referencing like
Well,
an actual
Gundam Seed Freedom. There might be like a new final version of like the Freedom Gundam.
I wouldn't
in
doubt
it.
that. I just don't know what it's called.
This is a movie, right? Why is this plot
Yeah, it's a
summary so
movie.
fucking long? Jesus Christ!
What?
like this plot summary is like, oh, a minute. Oh my God, it just keeps going. All right, so let me count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36, 37, 38, 39, 40, 41, 42, 43, 44, 45, 46, 47, 48, 49, 50, 51, 52, 53, 54, 55, 56, 57, 58, 59, 60, 61, 62, 63, 64.
Is this the opening to Mob Psycho 100?
66 fucking paragraphs! You have enough paragraphs to kill the Jedi! What the fuck?
Oh god.
Why?
All
Oh!
right, note to
Oh.
self: make Celtic Phoenix remix of Mob Psycho 100 opening.
Also, if what you're referring to is this one that's the Mighty Strike Freedom Gundam, oh
Mighty
god,
Strike
that's even more ugly. Why?
Oh, I've never seen it. Go ahead, post it if you can. Actually, I'll look it up.
I can get the image. It's like the color scheme is just so awful.
But yeah, 66 freaking paragraph. Oh, that's terrible.
Yeah, it's like there's no cohesion. There's
God.
gold in places that it shouldn't be. Like, should I put it up on? No, I'm not gonna put it up on stream.
I mean, it's not as kibbly as like the Strike Freedom, but it's
Yeah, but Strike Freedom feels like it has more cohesion than that.
yeah, it does.
Oh God.
And
what were
there
they
aren't any
thinking?
like actual blacks in the image anymore. Like they taken those out. It's so overexposed and not in a cool way.
Celtic Phoenix, 2 hours of runtime and most of the characters get no development. One girl gets NTR'd and we know nothing about her.
Only in the Team Jack podcast, everybody.
Just a Predator handshake with Vi and the girl from Gundam.
Celtic
Wait,
can
which-
only count to
which-
66? No, I can only count to
Flame.
4. I can only count to 4. I can only count to 4. Okay.
Also, you were referencing Flay, right, Fat Man? I think from Seed. I think.
Oh, I mean, whoever they were talking about, you know, the girl who got NTR'd and
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. That's in Seed Freedom. I've not seen Freedom.
yeah.
What's
Okay.
NTR? Oh, you sweet summer child.
Don't
We're
ask.
It's
Google Google image it.
Teddy's
Yes,
rolling.
Google image it.
Google
CAT
image.
search
Like-
off. Make sure you put fat bastard at the end of it. All right. So we see that Jinx, in the intervening time, has settled into what seems to be a peaceful life with Isha. Do we want to talk about this development? Because the more I think about it, is
Actually,
what exactly
She feels very
domesticated now?
Yeah, it's not the word I would use, but I mean, yeah, I agree with what you're saying. She feels a lot more sane than how she was portrayed in episodes 4 through 9 of the first season, in spite of having gone through arguably even more trauma now than she did after the end of episode 3.
Yeah, it's. I don't know how to
I
feel
think
about
that
it.
I think that it has to do with stability because, like, for as much as Silco loved her and took care of her, he didn't really address the scars that she had on her psyche, and that just built and festered into her guilt. But now, the reason why she doesn't have that kind of psychotic aspect to her mentality anymore is that she no longer feels guilty for that. Not in a way that breaks her, because she has accepted that she is a monster who doesn't care about this stuff anymore. She no longer cares about the bad things that she does in the way that Powder had anymore. She is no longer Powder as much anymore, but she still craves the familial connection of sisterhood, and now she found that in Isha.
I think part of it is also what was it? Just like progressively. I think the biggest part of it is just her progressively lacking more and more motivation, because it seemed very apparent during last episode, which I don't think we covered a whole lot. Is that it was very apparent that Jinx was either planning to die at that point, or she was at least half expecting her to not come out alive after all of that.
Well, I mean, I think that's a running thing, is that Jinx is always kind of looking for the thing to kill her.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
She is looking to die, but at the moment she has found something to live for in Isha. And that someone says that schizophrenia psychosis shouldn't have been diminished. I don't think that she has schizophrenia. So stop with that. That's a little bit trivializing things that have to do with mental health a little bit. But like I think that hasn't gone away. It's just at bay for the moment, because we do see it briefly come back when there is a moment where she gets stressed out.
I think it's when Isha gets captured is when...
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Because like I said, it's at bay because she has found stability with Isha. The moment that Isha goes away, that's when her psychosis starts coming back.
Well, what I'm interested in is, when did Jinx decide, or like, what was the progression of Jinx going from, hey, I'm going to unleash the vents onto Piltover and cause mayhem and potentially piss off the Pilties, which would then bring even more war to our front doors, which it did. When did she go from that to, I'm retiring as the extremist terrorist, and I'm going to go live in my cubby hole with my mute daughter / little sister? Like,
I want to say one of the lines a little bit later in this scene, she says that Jinx is dead. I think that's a little bit later. It's like when she...
Yeah, I remember that. What does she call herself then at this point? Does she doesn't call herself Powder. She doesn't call herself Jinx. I guess she's just her.
Well, there's no need for her to worry about that, because Isha's nonverbal, so you know.
I suppose so, yeah.
What do you have need for a name if the only person that you're going to hang out with doesn't use words?
Well, apparently Savika too.
Mm.
Granted, we don't know how consistently she has checked up on her.
That's true. We don't know the frequency of that, but it seems Savika is comfortable enough to walk into the hideout. And it is interesting that Isha is kind of giving her kind of a moral compass now. I don't know if it's directly or indirectly in terms of like, you know, she just genuinely wants another fight in the future, so she's like, no, don't kill him now. Or is it more that she actually values this little bug's life? Which I find it interesting. There were people that argued that Isha is not a character. I think she is. I think there's a lot going on here that, like, she's a little kid that wants this little bug not to be harmed. And it's like, we can ask a lot of questions why. I wish we got a little more definitive answers, but there's a lot that could be explained away. It's just, that's just her character. She doesn't want this bug to be harmed. She doesn't seem to want anyone to be harmed by the looks of it.
It's so sad to think that people would, you know, just be like, oh, she's not a character. It's like, she doesn't have any dialogue. She's not a character.
They've never seen Ruby before.
No, they probably think that the Ruby characters are characters because they talk so much.
Oh man. But like, what was it? Yeah, in a way, actually, this is something I just thought of. Okay, and hear me out. I'm not being weird.
I'm waiting for you to be weird. It's
interesting that this scene takes place after, you know, the scene with Caitlyn and Maddie. I say that's probably a purposeful parallel because both Jinx and Caitlyn are receiving, you know, certain comforts that are giving them some sort of stability.
I get it.
That sort of thing.
Yeah, that's actually that's an interesting parallel I hadn't considered before. Eric Roman, Josh Thomas Moore says, I am Jinx Mark II. She's not. She's not Jinx Mark II. If anything, she's actually far more proactive than Jinx ever is when it comes down to like social movement. She's much more of a social creature than Jinx is. Jinx is much more antisocial in her behavior.
Jinx was the puppet of Silco, so kind of when Silco died, that's when Jinx kind of died as well. So throughout this whole thing, she's sort of trying to rediscover who she is at the end of it all. After going through everything that she has gone through, who is she at the end of the day?
Yeah, I think like in the previous act, you know, you can kind of interpret that as just laying out probably some of the last bits of her frustration while also kind of begging for the sewer slide by cop situation to happen. And when, you know, she did all she really, really wanted to do, and Isha almost got killed, and she almost had everything she wanted, and it all just fizzled out. I can imagine she would just feel like, you know what, fuck it, doesn't matter. Everything's gonna burn while I'm not around anyway, so at least I can have fun with whatever the hell this chick is doing. She seems cool.
Yeah.
I don't know if you guys said this in the last episode, because like I said, I fell asleep while you were talking about the fight. The rest of her family wasn't Vi, it was Jinx. You know, Silco's dead and now Jinx is dead. And like that's how the fight ended.
Yeah.
So it's an interesting comparison. I'm just trying to think more about like why Isha does what she does, and the more I'm thinking about it is Jinx saving her may have been the inspiration for why she doesn't want people to get hurt. Like the idea is like, oh, you can save people, you can protect things, you can things you value, you can hold. Like she might have gotten that inspiration from Jinx. That's a supposition, but I think it's just
ironically. Yeah, which is ironic given how she saved her in the first place. But yeah, an interesting, I guess, kind of fucked up way. They're just trying to keep hold of the few things that they are happy with.
But yeah, as a result of apparently winning their skirmish with the bugs, Isha gets a gift, and I'm getting people mixed up today, even more than Victor and Jace. Where basically Jinx is cajoled into she grouses about it, but I think she's fine with it, into dyeing Isha's hair, which Jinx does a awful fucking job of it. Holy shit, you missed a lot of spaces.
She's not an artist.
She quite literally is.
What's the term for a hairstylist?
A hairstylist?
A cosmetologist?
Well, here's the thing, because you have lighter hair, so I can say this as a darker haired person. You need to bleach that shit first. The fact that she didn't bleach her hair is going to make it so that the dye doesn't stick as well. So this is actually pretty accurate to dyeing brown hair just straight.
I wonder what she used to dye her hair. It doesn't seem like actual hair dye. I mean, we never get details, but I presume it's some, like, I don't know. I'm curious. I don't know if they would have hair dye or not. How long has hair dye been around?
I mean, they have
probably for as long as dye has been around, right?
I mean, yeah.
I mean, maybe I'm not sure, because like it's one thing to have dye for like, I don't know, paint and stuff. It's another that to actually have that apply to someone's hair.
1907.
They could be at that. I mean, that's like end of the Industrial Revolution era, so that's possible.
It might
know. Look up when they made
as early
magic
as the 1850s.
Oh, okay. Well, there's that.
Well, there you go, everyone. If you want your Civil War characters to be running around with dyed blue hair,
well, like a bunch of fucking liberals.
The disdain with which
Nice
you fucking
haircut.
said that.
Did you
Okay,
get
my
that
voice
haircut from the
cracked.
liberal store?
No, my voice cracked at the weirdest time.
Kaiser is at the age he did, but he is still going through puberty.
Yeah.
Shush. Okay, when you talk so much, my voice just cracks more often.
But yeah, so now that it's done, Jinx gets to basically reflect on it, being like, oh, you're lucky I didn't get to do much of this with my older sister. She was more into hitting things, which, yeah, fair. I'm also mostly stealing things, like, for being really honest. She liked stealing stuff.
I mean, yeah. She's a monk that wants to be a rogue, yeah.
And then Jinx goes into, I had a different name back then, And, I do kind of find it interesting that I think part of the reason why the schizophrenic episodes, if you want to call them that, depending on how you want to define whatever the flashes are, I think it's just easier to refer to them that way. I know it's maybe not accurate or what have you, but I think it's the closest we get.
Yeah, I hesitate to want to call it schizophrenia because I don't think that is accurate, but it is at least some sort of psychotic break.
She used it a lot to talk to herself, and I think having someone to talk to, ironically, someone who can't talk back in the same way, like actually doesn't have a voice to talk back with and has to use hand signals, I think there's actually a lot to be said there about the nature of that being a stabilizing element, because it's something that she has to look at Isha, and she has to understand what Isha's trying to say, and it's not a voice in her head telling her thoughts. It's actually her having a conversation with someone else, and it's not like that person is taking over her.
Yeah, and specifically someone who shares in her interests too. Yeah.
And she's reflecting how much Isha reminds her of Vi. I don't know about that. I'm not entirely sure what... I'm trying to think what characteristics they share other than being a sister figure of sorts.
Dedication to Powder or to the sister. To her.
Yeah.
Also, like, Jinx could be like reminding herself of Vi, because like now she's the one who's like better at everything. Perceivedly.
And she could be understanding the burden that comes with being the older sibling, potentially.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm hesitant because like I don't know what Jinx's thoughts on Vi now are. I suppose we're establishing that now where it's softer, but I'm trying to think of what the bullet point is that led to that other... Like, is there anything more than just the fact that Vi was willing to stand up to Caitlyn to protect Isha? Was that maybe the only thing that triggered over Jinx being more accepting of Vi and opening back up to her later? I'm trying to just like piece together what is Jinx's feelings towards Vi in this moment. Great conversation, everybody. Excellent.
Sorry, I missed half that conversation because my headphones died, so I wasn't able. I was trying to piece what you were saying together.
Right. Okay. So just to kind of set it back up, what exactly are Jinx's thoughts on Vi, and why are they the way that they are? Because that very much informs what happens in the next episode and how she approaches Vi in the next episode. I'm trying to get a figure. I feel like we've missed a lot in that time span where Jinx was mellowing out. And it's like, everyone mellowed out in that time span. And it's like, guys, we left off on a very emotional high for all these characters. And we've gotten no elaboration on what happened in the immediate aftermath of that. So it's like, this is where I really feel is like we've kind of jumped from one point of the character's development into a new point with none of the middle ground.
I have returned.
Yeah, I don't even necessarily think that her feelings on Vi, like, I don't even think there was necessarily a catalyst, because she was, she was on that one track mind of like, this is the end of, or like, this is the end of my family.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, I think that once she got over like herself, she can just look back with more of a, with more like reverence on the past.
Yeah. Because I think what she's doing now is reflecting on what she has and what she has lost and what she could possibly get back. And I think that has to do with, again, the loss of Silco, but the gaining of Isha. And what else can she lose or gain, and how that can possibly all be on, like, determined by her and her decisions. And kind of reflecting on her feelings on Vi and whether or not things could still turn out okay and all that kind of stuff.
Right.
Pete, any thoughts?
Sorry, I was looking at something from work. I'm hoping that I don't have to leave early, so I'm trying to pay attention both to something important and the conversation.
Okay.
If you want to repeat, I guess, again, what
Jinx's characterization and her opinions towards Vi in this moment. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I mean, it's a little hard for me to say what exactly because I can sort of understand, like, just from the basis that, like, she sees Vi in Isha, and just trying to square away, what exactly about that, kind of given the sense that, like, the last time that we saw any kind of opinion of her sister was the last episode where are you going to finish off the rest of my family, and on a murder hobo kind of spree. So it's kind of, I don't really know how to, like, I guess, square that away. I can see arguments kind of like either way. I guess I hadn't really thought about it, but it's not like the most obvious thing to me. I'm just kind of indifferent on it, I guess.
Jinx and Isha story. Girl with mental illness taking care of a toddler who wants to be a terrorist. Now, to be fair, she's not a toddler. She's like 8 or 9, all right? Just because she's small doesn't mean that she's a toddler. Guys, get it right.
She's small, so she's a toddler. She's mute, so she's not a character. She's just getting the short end of every stick on this fandom.
Ironically, being short being one of those sticks.
Damn.
And yeah, this is her, like, encouraging Jinx to go out there and do Jinx stuff. And she's like, I don't know, this past life. And it's aged about as sweet as old milk. Jinx is dead. And Isha's, like, not satisfied with that.
Yeah, because she wants her to be this amazing heroic figure that she obviously thinks that she is. But she's not that. Like, Isha doesn't seem to understand that just because Jinx had done this amazing thing to save her life, that doesn't make her a heroic figure. So she's kind of trying to push her into being the person that she isn't. And whether or not she succeeds in that is kind of up to you and whatever, but, like, that is Isha's goal in this, is to
bring out the hero
with her be with her hero and bring out that hero that she had saw in her.
Ryan Carson, is Isha / Grogu 8? I don't know how old she is, but how dare you fucking insult Isha by comparing her to Grogu?
What is a Grogu?
Grogu is Baby Yoda from The Mandalorian.
Oh.
Who has absolutely no fucking character whatsoever. They are a baby. They will eat random shit, and they fall in love with their dad figure and protect them. That's like the be-all, end-all of Grogu. There is nothing more to them.
He's 50 years old.
in Yoda years.
In Yoda,
Yep.
yeah, yeah, it's like a baby in Yoda years. It's
Oh yeah, no, I'm just looking. I went onto Wikipedia to look at what this thing even was,
But it
and
can't-
as I was scrolling down, it just said age 50 years. So I was like, oh, that's a tidbit I didn't know.
it can
Yep.
apparently do backflips somehow.
I'm just
Somehow.
imagining. So Twy, you know how you always say that it's not necessarily CGI or practical. It's always just if the effect looks good or not.
Mm-hmm.
Grogu is the ultimate example of you probably should have CGI'd that in certain parts. Because you get these hilarious moments of them using this puppet in ways that just look fucking wrong. Like it does these backflips. You could tell it's just a puppet on a string.
There are even
pulled.
times when it's just like moving in general, where you can very clearly tell that there's the little motorized wheelie thing underneath.
You can
it.
tell its
Like,
legs
you can't-
aren't actually moving. They're
Yeah.
just like there's something underneath that's like moving up and down to simulate it, but it's not
Yeah.
doing it very well.
It's not a person. It's like a remote control toy.
Yeah, see, I've told Raymond this before, but I never understood the reverence that a lot of people have towards puppetry, because puppetry can be good, but it can also be bad, in the same way that CGI can be good, but it can also be bad. It all depends. And I've seen enough bad puppetry in movies, and that sounds like it's one of them.
Yeah, well,
One of my
the best argument for puppetry, even bad puppetry over CGI, is for the benefit of the actors and the immersion.
Get a stick.
Get a stick.
Yes. Literally, that is what some do for when they're CGIing creatures that the actors
Yeah.
have to interact with. You
The-
have
the
a
tennis
stick.
ball.
Yeah, you have a stick with a
Yeah.
tennis ball, and the actors look at that.
Yeah. Like I love watching like behind the scenes stuff before they put the effects in, and they got like like the green football that is the Drogon's head for Game of Thrones.
Yeah.
It's like
the argument of CG versus practical effects. It's one of those kinds of like complicated kinds of things, because like I hate it when like that argument is boiled down to just practical is always inherently better than CG. When like one of my favorite examples that I've heard is the comparison, not to say that like either of these are particularly bad, but I think one of them is very obviously better than the other, is the Rancor from Star Wars Episode 6 and the Balrog from Fellowship of the Ring. I think the Balrog undisputedly looks much better,
Yes.
even though it is CG. Yeah.
The I always come
But
back
I
to like
guess,
I think everyone that does practical effects should always aim for the standards of John Carpenter's The Thing, but I understand that's like shooting for the fucking moon for a lot of people. Somehow, I don't know, they managed to do it in the 1980s with sticks in a cave. I don't understand why it's so hard to get this shit down. Like, I don't know why people struggle with it today. It's like, you guys, we perfected this back in 1982. Why is it so hard to get right?
I need one of the
Yeah.
artists in chat to draw that now. It's just the Obadiah Stane, but like it's
Oh, yeah.
Raymond
It's Raymond. John Carpenter built this in a cave
with a box
with
of
a box of
sticks.
scraps.
Wilford Brimley, status ascended, built this in a shack. So we get introduced to, or reintroduced to, what's the name of the prison? Something Bilge.
Oh shoot, where did I put my map of Piltover?
Something water.
Stillwater.
Stillwater.
Stillwater, yeah.
Stillwater Prison, and something that was pointed out in Smaller Souls video was the tram system was not here back in season 1. This has been added to because of the mass transport of prisoners going to and from the city.
You know what? That makes sense because, yeah, I think I remember when Caitlyn went there in the first season, they went there by boat.
Yep.
There didn't seem to be a transit system anywhere.
Yeah, so this is a completely
an
new
interesting
addition
detail.
for the locale.
And again,
which
it
I find
speaks to how fast the artisans are at
Yeah.
making their
Oh
shit.
yeah, for real.
What the hell?
Twy, how long has it been taking Vancouver to build some of those tramways? Can we, dude? Can you imagine if like fucking we had Piltover's design like building teams in the real world? The government wouldn't know how to spend half its money.
Honestly, yeah.
As if they did. In the
I mean,
first
at least the extensions are going to be finished in 2 years. I'm kind of looking forward to that,
that's
actually.
nice, at least.
California's high-speed project is taking Yeah, don't remind me about that.
Guys, I'd have to bounce.
Oh,
Oh,
Oh, God.
really?
Yeah.
everything okay? Emergency?
Not particularly, but I can't back out.
Okay.
All
All right.
All right,
Shit.
fair enough. Well, we
okay,
enjoyed having you.
Final
And
thoughts.
final thoughts on this episode. I like Isha. I think she deserves more credit in the fandom.
All right.
Good last word.
Same.
Yeah. Sorry. Prepare for jank, everybody.
Yep. All right. Back. Oh God.
All right,
Oh.
see you, Fat Man.
Bye.
Bye, man.
See you later, guys.
Okay. All right. Give it. You guys placeholder while I figure out all this shit. Oh
Yeah.
my God. Everyone's wrong.
Okay.
Everything is
Okay.
wrong.
Get out your Bibles, everyone. How accurate is it?
I would actually like to know how exactly they were able to do all of not like in the actual like TV show. It's just like one of those shower thoughts kind of thing where it's like I would like to know like how fast these guys actually work and like how they're able to do stuff if it's like magic or if they just like cram like hundreds upon hundreds of people to do these things, that sort of thing. Like it's just a random thought that I have. It's like, oh, how did they do this?
No, that's fair. I think this is like the biggest indicator that Caitlyn's campaign had to have taken like a few months because given the scale of this, it had more than likely it had to have taken around that much time.
There's Pete. I found him. There we go.
They have been found.
Good Pete hunting.
I struck platinum.
Platinum rush. Oh my goodness. By the way, I've been playing through Octopath Traveler 2 recently. It's really, really good. It's so much more fun than the first game, which the first game is already good, but like
You
is
finished
just
the first?
more.
You finished
Huh?
the first one just recently? I swear the last it wasn't that
yeah.
long ago I talked to you and you were talking about the first game.
Oh yeah, I finished the first game like I think a couple weeks ago, and I started the second game. I was like, okay, I'm gonna dip my toes in this and I'm gonna go, but it's like it's so much better, and there's a lot like way more things to do. Like they added way more variety for different play styles and different character choices than the first one, which is really, really fun. I recommend anyone play it.
Okay,
And
but Donkey told me that turn-based combat RPGs are bad though.
Well, Donkey
He should not be relied upon as a valuable source of information in any capacity whatsoever.
he should stick to talking with his wife. Okay?
Donkey
Let me
is
just
one of the
say-
reasons I still haven't touched ukulele, and I have felt terrible about it since I was I was a backer on that project, and I still want to play it. His review took the wind out of my sails, and by the time I learned that he was basically talking out of his ass, I was like, well, it's on my backlog now. Fuck.
Damn.
I mean, look,
Hollis review of it?
if his
Yeah, that was what
if his
reconvinced me.
profile, if his profile is anything to go by, him being an ass is a pretty accurate
No, it's-
descriptor of how
it's
much
not-
you should take as a bitch.
Also, I'll be right
Yeah,
back.
it's not just that he's an ass, it's that he's an uninformed ass, or he
Yeah.
just outright lies about things in order to fit his agenda.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. Turn-based combat is bad. Jesus Christ, dude. Next thing you're gonna tell me that having a health bar in a game is
Turn-based
freaking
RPG or JRPG specifically, unless you're Persona 5, I guess.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
Persona 5 is the one exception to that for him. I don't know why.
Because he doesn't have standards.
Well. No, but he's a comedian, Twy. He's the funny guy.
Because he lacks
Mm,
patience.
Is he
have to be-
though?
You don't have to be
There are some of
accurate
his-
when you're trying to make a
There,
joke.
there are
okay?
some of his videos that are fun to watch, but ironically, all the ones of his that are fun to watch have like nothing insightful in them. Not like his video, not like or like nothing. I should say nothing that is attempting to be insightful. I should correct it because none of his videos are insightful. But like the funny ones are like the ones where he's like messing around in Breath of the Wild and he's like testing the limits of like the different mechanics in a game or something like that, and showing
he's, like,
how you
making
can
the
do these
build.
cool things that maybe you didn't really think you could do. That's
Right.
it's unfortunate that he doesn't do more of that because like when he does his little reviews and he's trying to say something insightful is
Yeah, Josh, you say that like Seed Freedom, like fucking Seed Destiny is even on the backlog. Dude, I stopped after Seed because I heard about Destiny. I ain't touching that shit.
No, that's fair. Like
Oh.
ever since Seed Freedom has come out, people have been asking me, "Yo, are you gonna make a video about Seed Freedom?" I'm all like, "Buddy, I haven't watched any of Seed since I first watched it when I finished watching and started ranting about it when I was like 16 years old. I'm gonna need to rewatch all of that again." Which, by the way, given both seasons, that's almost 100 episodes leading
Yeah.
up to the movie.
Yeah.
So I'm all like, listen, if y'all want me to do that, I will, but y'all gotta make it worth my while a little bit, okay?
Celtic,
Like,
I heard
what
that
happened-
Judgmental Critter is planning to rob a bank with her Pokemon. What?
What?
Her, yeah.
I mean, yeah, that sounds
Pokemon.
exactly like her, but like what? What?
What's her
She's
team?
not-
Let's rank it. Let's rate her team.
Yeah, we'll rate her team. Let's figure.
Yeah.
Actually, that would be like a fun like thing to do, like rating Pokemon, or you make a Pokemon team for a specific goal, like robbing a bank, and like
yeah.
going through your justification for it. I think we did
Okay.
something like that for
Yeah.
a little bit for her. We had to find a Pokemon. She had like described the Pokemon to us, and we had to figure out which one she was talking about.
Mm.
I think that would honestly be really fun because like it's there's a lot more to like think about when you are putting specifically like for robbing a bank because like now you've got to find like it would be cool to think about like what Pokemon have like what jobs, which ones do like what things, and you explain like
don't
why would be
forget
good.
the easy
Oh.
ad is Abra. He's the get out man.
Oh, yeah.
You know what? I have a small little rant because a long time ago I had done a role play with a friend of mine, and I had a scenario where a character she was like the leader of a team. But in the twist of the team was that they were kind of anti-team in the sense that they would go after people who abuse Pokemon, whether it be other teams like Rocket or Magma or whoever, and they would just steal their Pokemon if they abused them too much. And they had a hangout that was built out of a mountain with Onyx and all sorts of other rock Pokemon, and they had electricity using their electric Pokemon and water using their water Pokemon. And she was just so uncomfortable with the fact that I used my imagination with these elemental creatures. Like, this is too much. It's like, but why though?
She was upset you were playing Pal World years before it ever released.
Yeah, for real.
But I was gonna say, someone who is it that Trevor Redfin play A Hat in Time? I did play A Hat in Time. I'm pretty sure I played the DLC, the first DLC on my channel. So yeah, you can check that out somewhere. Sorry, continue.
Oh, it's just I thought that it was kind of ridiculous that it's like, why is it okay that the anime can do this, but if I do it, then all of a sudden my character's a Mary Sue or something like that? Like, Jesus.
Yeah, that's fun. Like that's kind of part. Like I've always been annoyed by Pokemon and how limited it feels that the Pokemon are. You're just doing it for battling in HMs, typically. Like, I remember them adding secret bases in the 3rd generation, and I'm just like, hell yeah! I want to hang out with my Pokemon doing fun games and stuff. And, like, you couldn't really do that, but, like, I liked that kind of element. Like, you could build secret bases and such, and playing games with your Pokemon. I wanted more, like, mini games, like you saw in the Pokemon Stadium games. Like, all that. Like, I wanted stuff like that.
If anything, like the tabletop RPGs are like the best place for that, to use that. It's part of the reason why I forget what it was called, but there was this really cool homebrew Pokemon 5th edition D&D module that my friends and I never got around to doing. So impressed by, because it was literally just an entire PDF of like hundreds of Pokemon just converted into 5th edition monsters.
Oh, that's... Can you send me that?
It was if I could find it. This was like years ago. I wonder if I still have it in my Google Drive. But like, yeah, here's the other thing too, is it's harder to find nowadays because apparently they got so recognized that the Pokemon company kind of came out. So, but like, there's still PDFs of them around. They're just a little bit harder to find. So yeah, if I still have
it,
if you
can track me down a copy, I would totally look into like running that, because that sounds like a very simple type of campaign to run, and it's something that I think everyone here would be excited about.
The thing is, too, the other thing to... Sorry, go ahead, Kaiser.
Oh, I was just going to say, one of my friends is actually doing a freaking Pokemon D&D campaign, like, granted somewhat concurrently. I'm not in the campaign myself, but I always hear about it. I wonder if they have the PDF or not. I can ask them.
Oh, please tell me I didn't delete it. Please. I might have it on one of my flash drives. But the other thing too is that if you do find a PDF of it somewhere, also keep in mind that they updated. They originally started off with only the Gen 1 Pokemon, and then they made an update to that with like the Gen 2, and then et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So some of the PDFs are like around the internet, but not all of them have like all the Pokemon that they have made before. I believe I have the one that's all the way up to whatever the last gen was at the time that we were playing it, which I'm guessing was maybe Sword and Shield.
Seven
but
or 8,
yeah,
something like that. Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, if you have...
just if you can find that, I would be down for taking a look into that and seeing if I could run it for people.
Yeah, sure.
Ed Stevinsky says, I want it to be like the adventure manga where each pro tag gets to be a different kind of trainer. Yeah, I would love that. I would love people to specialize in things, but like I would like try and create a bonus system for like team synergies. That would be fun.
Well, the character that became the leader of Team Moon, which is what I called that team that I had made, she was originally a trainer that spent a lot of years as a Pokemon, as a member of a Pokemon team circus, like acrobatic circus. They would use Pokemon in their acrobatic stunts and all that kind of stuff. Sort of like a fancy Cirque du Soleil. And she had a hang up over starting her Pokemon journey really late, because her brother by then became like a really famous champion and whatever.
To kind of round this out, I know Pathfinder has the Summoner class that you can play as, and there's a archetype of it called the Master Summoner, where you get a weaker Eidolon, but you can summon a fuck ton of creatures on the summoning spells, and they are typically banned because it just breaks the game. Because you break action economy because you suddenly have like 50 monsters.
You become
by deep game. You become an army on your own. It's insane. Anyway, yes. So we arrive at Stillwater, where we pick up with Ambessa and Rictus, and they're overseeing this poor animal dude, this like gazelle man. I'm not entirely sure.
Yeah, it looks like a gazelle.
Goat man.
No, he looks like a gazelle.
Yuri, look, a cow. Yuri, look. I sent that to Twilight. Yuri, look, a cow. Yuri, look, a sheep. Yuri, look, a goat. Such a cute little.
I still don't quite get that, but okay.
I just thought it was cute, like the excitement over.
Yeah.
Look, farm animals. But yeah, basically this is them trying to force a guy into recreating Hextech technology. I do like Rick is just slowly putting on the goggles. It's like, you're fucked.
I forgot about that part.
Yeah, so is Ambessa. So, do we want to talk about a lore building question that this brings up? Pete, like this would be, I think, in your area of questions.
As far as I think the main thing here is just kind of the question of does this imply that Jace and Victor really were the only two people who knew anything about Hextech across like all the stuff that we've seen them build? Now that we've seen all the stuff that is underneath the Hex Gate, is this essentially implying that there is no one else but the two of them who knew how to work Hextech?
Actually, I had a thought, because we kind of know how this thing works. I was wondering if the main reason why they were able to get it to work is because they didn't really fear it. Because this guy, we know that he gets obliterated, but the main thing that we know about this guy is how much he's afraid of it. So maybe the reason why he died was because it was just reacting to his fear. Making the fear real.
Do we assume that happened to like everyone else as well who might have done this?
Possibly, but we don't know.
Well, I mean, that's the next question, is because I assume that like there's no one else who has really managed to get this work, because that's the reason why Ambessa is so mad about that. The question because again, if there are people who do know how to work Hextech, then the next question becomes, why would they fear it then?
Because they know that it's dangerous, and even though that you have an understanding that somebody has done it before, like, why hasn't anyone done it before? And that's because it's so dangerous. So how did they get that to work? And maybe they get too much in their heads, because we do have an understanding that this thing is kind of reactive to emotions. So even if it is like a small emotion, if it's the wrong kind of emotion, it can react badly to it and then kill you.
So then does that kind of still mean that like Jace and Victor were still the only ones really working with anything Hextech like related?
Yeah, that's actually like it's more so like the scale of the constructions that we see. They would have needed help to some degree. People would have needed their input on things.
And I mean, it's not like Jace and Victor are using the hex, like they're not the ones who like actually man the hex gate. Clearly there is something or someone else.
Well, I mean, that's like, I don't expect everyone that mans the controls at a nuclear power plant to know every facet of how the power plant itself works.
Yeah, I'm not expecting the person who runs the power plant to know how to build the actual plant.
Well, I mean, that's also kind of like part of the thing, is that like there is clearly there is clearly an aspect about certain things in Hextech technology that doesn't require you to actually kind of understand it, or clearly not to the same degree as like this here. So there is still kind of a question of like, can you construct like Hextech kind of stuff, or even just the stuff that you already know?
Look, there's a big difference between Oppenheimer and Oppenheimer Barbie. One is more dangerous than the other. Too much pink energy. Oh no! Oh no! So yeah, it does raise the question of, okay, so here's the question. What is Ambessa trying to achieve here? That's another big question, because I'm not entirely sure what it is that she wants out of this.
Yeah, is this like another hex core? Because like I can understand.
Why would she want? Does she even know that exists?
Yeah.
Like, or is she just trying to create new Hextech weaponry? In which case, are the designs like? Can you just not go into Jace's room and get them? This raises a lot of questions of like, why? What is going on here other than, I guess, you want to further the technology, which you shouldn't necessarily be impatient with. I guess you could be if you're dealing with the frickin' Black Rose or whatever, but I don't know. It feels like I need more context as to why this is happening and who you've gotten to do it, and like, I guess we never have touched upon like, who else knows about the nature, like anything about Hextech? Apparently, we learned at the end of the last episode there are available texts that Echo has gotten his hands on about Hextech. So there's scholars and people studying it, and it's apparently a field, I would imagine, to study at, because Jace is a
Yeah, like a
professor,
whole
right?
department. I
Isn't-
don't know if Jace
don't know if
has
he's a
become a professor, but he.
I imagine that would be difficult to, like, between not only being the guy responsible for like building a lot of the Hextech projects and stuff, and then also being a councilman.
Well,
member.
presumably
imagine
before
just
the
being a-
council, he was a professor. Like, that's what I'm saying.
Oh
but
well,
you're
I
right.
don't think there's anything that confirms that. I suppose it's a possibility, but I don't think that there's anything that it points to it.
Victor might have been. I wouldn't be surprised if he was.
So are we saying that, like, he has somehow either he didn't actually make any schematics for the rifle, the shield, the tonfas, the Atlas gauntlets, hell, the hex beam.
Or did he? What were some of the papers that Victor was looking at back in episode 2? I want to pull that up actually. You guys keep talking.
Yeah, I remember there were some like schematics of the hex core that were shown.
Yeah,
even in this season,
I would say
actually.
that it would be the hex core that would probably be schematic skemmed, in which case maybe that is what they're trying to do. Maybe they're just trying to recreate those notes because they were the ones that were accessible.
It's possible, yeah.
God, can you imagine if they succeeded at creating another hex core?
Oh god.
Jesus
Heimerdinger
Christ.
would be. Well, actually, I don't know how Heimerdinger.
I was
season
gonna
2
say,
would
I don't
go.
know if you want
Yeah,
to
yeah.
influence
Yeah, you know what?
Season 1
Heimerdinger's
Heimerdinger
from
will be
season-
horrified.
Oh wait, yeah, there were blueprints for the Atlas gauntlets on Jace's desk.
Oh,
Yeah,
there
you would
go.
think they would have gone in on that. I honestly, if I were this, I would just get a bunch of fucking Atlas gauntlets and then load them up with whatever magic runes that they had back there in Noxus, because it seems like it does a pretty good job of dispelling the Black Rose. So I wish we knew more about the arms
Oh my
race that was
God.
going on.
Oh my god, the blueprints for Kate's rifle are also on there too.
Oh, were they?
Oh,
Yeah,
wow.
it's Kate's rifle, the
That's
Atlas
alright.
gauntlets, and it looks like the hex core. If I could get a screenshot of it, I will. Trying to find a better screenshot, but like, yeah, it's all there and some other stuff. It looks like.
What were the papers that Jinx stole in season 1? That was more, I think, about the nature of the hex crystal, because that wasn't public knowledge at that point. Which, honestly, I guess that makes some level of sense that, like, I guess that was the major advancement in season 1 that they were about to announce, was the pocket variant of hex technology. The stuff that was easily manipulatable on human level. That was, user based as opposed to massive yeah. Also, it is interesting that Jace was planning the hex rifle. No, that makes sense. Wait.
This was after episode 1. So like, I guess he would have to have blueprints of it by then.
That makes sense. Yeah.
Well, I would,
But it
I would
does-
hope
it-
that it's after episode 1.
But yeah, it does. Yeah.
There's another blueprint there underneath the.
That's
arm,
the
I
hex
think.
core, I think.
Well, no,
If
there's
I-
one underneath the 2, but then there's a fourth one off to the left underneath the robe
Oh,
that you
let me
can't
see if I
make any
can-
detail out of.
Yeah. Yeah.
Sorry, it's not on
I
screen,
don't-
guys. I don't want to flip between a billion different.
So I would
screens.
imagine I would imagine that Jace was probably already making the schematics for the
You know,
hex
it
rifle
looks like
back in season
it
1.
vaguely, going through each of the frames, it looks vaguely like the little mechanisms that Victor was using to control the hex core back in season 1. The little like handle thingies that he was pushing and rotating. I think.
the mini Doc Ock thing.
Vaguely, I don't. It's hard to tell, but like that's maybe what it looks like it could be. I have no idea though.
Trevor says the schematics were sealed in the Goon Cave before Jace left, and Bessa is too disgusted to get them. You know what?
Damn.
That's and Bessa is trying to recreate the hex strap.
She wants her own goon cave. She doesn't want to buy the cheap Noxian goon cave. She wants to make her own.
You want the Goon Cave and the hex
Right.
strap. We need this technology.
Blackjacks and hookers.
With this goon cave, the Black Rose will never mess with my family again. That's a terrible Ambessa impression. I'm just.
Ugh.
So yeah, this guy seems to succeed a little bit at first, and then he gets fucking atomized against the wall. Which, by the way, that cut was weird to me because it blasts him, and we get to a similar camera angle that's outside the chamber he's inside of. So I thought this was inside the chamber at first. It's like just a little bit of weird camera fuckery for me. But yeah, no, he gets Hiroshima pretty hardcore there.
Yeah.
Which kind of sucks.
He got transported into the AU.
Actually, that would have been. Oh my god, maybe he's a background character. That would be wild.
Oh, maybe.
That would actually have been interesting if they did that. But I didn't pay attention to it.
Maybe this guy has a whole backstory we just didn't pay attention to.
We
We just see him on a hill in the background grazing. It's like, oh, interesting.
He was at Jace's trial or some shit. I don't know. He's orchestrating it. I don't fucking know.
But yeah, Ambessa is the big mad.
Yeah, and she's immediately like, oh, it's the Black Rose, which I suppose maybe the Black Rose has a hand in this, in the shortage of intelligence, because I
think
didn't
this is just
presume so.
paranoia.
Well, I think
'Cause,
so.
like-
I thought so at first, but we can't rule that out that they are somehow aware of what she's trying to do.
That's true, but like a lot of the other things that she also says are caused by the Black Rose, we know definitively are not. Like she talks about how the all of the people with like an inkling of talent vanish, and she's like, it's no coincidence, even though ironically it actually kind of is, because it doesn't have to do with the Black Rose. Or at least they're not the ones responsible for the reasons why Jace, Victor, Heimerdinger, they are responsible for Mel's disappearance. That's like the one that she does get right. But
Yeah.
like as far as the rest of them.
But it is a believable fear that she has.
She goes full Will Smith on Rictus when he tries to mention them.
Keep my enemy's or I guess depending on like which member of the Black Rose, keep my ex-husband's name out your fucking mouth.
We also learn her real opinion of Piltover. It's a backwater to her, which I find interesting considering
Strange.
how technologically advanced it is compared to what little we know about Noxus, where they're still using just basic magic and fucking spears.
Well, here's the thing too, is that like Piltover, even in season 1, had lines that mentioned that they were clearly doing trade with Noxus. They were like the line in that one council meeting when Jace suggested shutting down the Hex Gates, and the guy with the beard said, "Will my next ship? Should I tell the Noxians that that their next shipment of wine will be vinegar?" So like clearly they were, engaging in trade with something that is incredibly valuable as the Hex Gates to be able to conduct those kinds of exchanges so easily over such a vast distance. It is a little weird to describe it as kind of backwater in that regard.
I would imagine that like maybe a better phrasing for that line, which could have been a bit more consistent, would have been this soft country or this soft city or something like that.
No,
Yeah.
I mean, like,
Less
she's
prepared.
angry. Like, I can understand her, like, this is a moment of heated exclamation. I just find it interesting that was the chosen word. Adam Zelke says, the Black Rose is weird because these super secret Illuminati conspiracy organizations can feel like they're only as smart as the plot needs them to be. I mean, that's often the case. Yeah, that's unfortunate. Let us not remember the Red Room from Marvel.
Oh, God.
Not.
Why do we have to remember the Red Room?
Because
There is
the
no
Black
Red
Rose is at
Room
least
in
better than
Gotham
them.
City. Yeah.
Fair.
And like Ambessa is like questioning, how could I not secure the scientist? Which comes back to our complaint about episode 1. You almost got Jace directly killed.
Yeah.
Yeah. There is kind of the question of like what if there was like something that she could have put in place to possibly prevent that. And I mean, in fairness, it still worked out in the end, but yeah.
Also, I mean, she's clearly upset over Mel, and she's like stressed about it. And Rictus is like, "We'll fuck him up. Don't worry."
Yeah.
And it's like, yeah, you must be prepared. I guess trying to just make sure that she keeps her mind intact. And this next scene, I'm gonna kind of glance over it a bit. Not like glance over, but just kind of summarize it quickly. So we get this whole bunch of prisoners that are. What is exactly happening here? Are they trying to go from Zaun over to Piltover? Like, what is exactly this checkpoint for?
I do not. I could not begin to answer that.
I'm presuming that it's like people from Zaun going to Piltover. It's like a check.
But I don't even know why they would allow that at that point. Like, does that mean that they just didn't do the?
I thought that this was a prisoner transport of some sort. They were protesters and they're all being arrested and they're being sorted.
Oh. Yeah, it could be.
Wait, is this? But well, I mean, yeah, if they got out.
So Adaman678. Hey, so I haven't watched any. How is it so far? Nice, pleasant. We're having a good time here, chilling out.
Yeah.
We had a great exchange about the Goon Cave about an hour and a half ago.
No, that was much more recent.
Well, no.
Listen,
We had
the Goon
recent
Cave
references.
is everywhere.
Anyway, basically, Rictus passes this guy in the line for whatever this line is for, and rips his hat off and reveals that he's actually the replacement drummer for a band with this blue mohawk. And he's basically just calling out, don't emulate Jinx. She's not your friend, whatever. We see Batboy from the Fireflies walking through.
The only background character I recognize.
Yeah. I don't...
Actually, sorry, I was looking through the scene just real quick. I do think it is some kind of checkpoint. It's not a prison transfer because they're checking people's bags and they are like allowing people in with bags. So I assume that they are not going into a prison if they are allowing them.
Yeah. I was gonna say like it has to be something like that.
Yeah, it's like the weird TSA kind of check. It looks like so.
I wonder if they just have these periodically throughout the city.
Maybe
Possible.
And then it leads to basically something has been sabotaged on their tools, where music starts playing and a rendition of a song called why am I blanking on it? Rebel Heart, which is done by the same singer as the original Jinx theme song, Get Jinxed, and it's a fucking awesome theme song. I adore it. And it seems to be Isha's theme song, as she basically sets off this firework display and creates a bunch of havoc down below to not hurt anyone, I don't think. I think it's just like all like paint bombs, I want to say. They're just there to create some chaos and confusion and help people like escape and run through the checkpoints. And everyone thinks it's Jinx. I'm pretty sure everyone's convinced that Jinx has returned and she's still on the prowl because of all the different iconography that Isha is using.
They look up, they're like, "Oh wow,
like,
Jinx, you're shorter than I envisioned."
It's things like this that make me kind of question the people who say that Isha isn't a character, because a character who isn't a character wouldn't do shit like this, you know?
Yeah, she's literally acting of her own regard against the wishes of Jinx. Like, she is doing... Well, Jinx didn't forbid her from doing this. It's clear that Jinx has left this life behind, and Isha is going out of her way to embroil herself in it, even though we know that Jinx would not want that for her.
Mm-hmm.
Right. I think that it might be a situation where there are some like there are some like even much more substantial issues that people have about Isha, or just different ones altogether that they have, and is just kind of getting boiled down to her just not having a character as a catch-all.
Yeah, I imagine that's how a lot of arguments go. people simplify it. Like people really
Yeah, sure.
boil things down.
Yeah, it's
This
people
is
who don't
that's
know
what
how
it
to
sounds
talk
like.
about media criticism.
Oof.
I mean, that's
I-
what it sounds like, anyways. Because again, I haven't seen any actual videos talking about Isha yet.
I haven't seen it. I've
have
only
those
seen
in
I've
the
only
back
seen the
burner.
conversation lightly in the tundra, which you can get access to for $1 or more to my Patreon, where you can hang out with all of us and everyone that was on this podcast. We're all regularly in there, hanging out, talking with you guys, and having a good time. You might also
Bad
get
fan fiction night every Friday.
yeah, you get to be a part of Bad Fanfiction Night every single Friday at 10 p.m. Though not this Friday. I'm busy this Friday, unfortunately.
Next Friday.
Yeah, the
Yeah.
following Friday.
Next
Adam
Friday.
Zelke, Isha, Jinx, do the plot and be a revolutionary. Jinx, no, curls up in a blanket burrito. Oh,
Yes,
it's kind of
that is exactly the season.
But yeah, Rictus was a little pissed about that, and we cut away to basically Caitlyn learning about the attack. And oh, here we go. Here's the scene where we have Caitlyn's face overlaid with Jinx's. So before we go into this scene, is there anything worth commenting on that last scene? Any
Not a
issues?
comment, but I have bad news. I have to go as well.
No!
I'm so sorry.
Oh god,
It's-
I'm gonna have to readjust everything again.
Blame the French.
Blame
I'm not
the French.
I'm not even kidding. Blame our France clients.
Oh wow. Okay.
So actually, literally blame the French.
Literally,
No.
yes. I'm not even joking.
This is the episode that killed all of our guest hosts.
I'm I'm so sorry.
And it just so happens to be the home wrecker episode.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like, as far as my thoughts on episode 4, it's indifference. I feel like a lot of any sort of like problem, there are like problems, but like none of them have to do specifically with what we see in episode 4. It's more so just it in conjunction with context that we get in later episodes. So hopefully I'll get a chance to talk about
any thought on this last comment? The argument would be that Isha does whatever the plot needs. I can't conceive of the Isha in episode 4 doing what she does at the end of episode 6.
All characters do what the plot needs. That describes literally every single character in existence.
I mean, yeah, but I'm guessing the implication is that it would they think that
It's
the way
unsupported.
that Isha it's
Yeah, but, like, the
unsupported
only
by,
reason why it
any
does-
motivations. Yeah.
Yeah, the only reason I assume why they believe that is because the only reason they believe she does that is for the plot, not because it is in character.
I think that's very stupid.
Anyways,
we'll probably have to
um,
get into why that is like later on, but yeah,
Yeah.
it's good having you, Pete.
Yeah, check out my channel, PeriodicPete. I am making a video that I will hopefully put out the next couple weeks. I'm crossing my fingers, but I also stream on Saturday afternoons. We're going through Kingdom Hearts 2 and maybe Outer Wilds a little bit later. So catch you guys later.
See ya, Pete. Bye.
Later, Pete.
All right, biblically accurate again.
Really accurate.
You guys hold the fort
man.
while I'm doing this. I'm just trying.
Alright, sure.
Yeah, sure. I guess
But-
to continue off of what I was saying there, I just think that's stupid to just say that she's just a tool of the plot and that she does whatever the plot needs, because we clearly see that she has motivations and desires and things like that, and she's just following those established desires. So it's kind of silly to say that she is just a tool of the plot when we know for a fact that she has those desires built into her character.
I was gonna say,
And if
like,
you're
Yeah, I would
going,
have to see. Oh god.
sorry, I was just gonna say, like, if we're following that line of logic to say that she doesn't have a personality, I think it's more accurate to say that she would be out of character in the later instance.
Yeah.
Like that would be the better argument.
Or at least a better way to phrase it. But then, that would, then we would have to go into, okay, well, whether or not that is even the case in the first place. Like, I'm not sure what about what she does in episode 6 would contradict anything she does in this episode.
yeah.
I'm gonna just
Because her whole
at-
thing is
I know
that she's
nothing.
motivated to protect Jinx and care about Jinx. So she's kind of staying with that.
and to have other people see her as the hero that she thinks that Jinx is. So
Yeah.
like if her whole thing is that she wants Jinx to be a hero, then dressing up and pretending to be Jinx and causing all of this chaos in support of people thinking that it's Jinx doing it, that's perfectly in line with her motivations.
Yeah. Like I said, I would have to see like what exactly these arguments even are, or where like the
Yeah, I would
people
need
think
specific
even
instances
is-
because you need to do that on a case by case basis. Like a character that's completely.
Yeah.
I mean, I would still argue it like out of character and then functioning for the plot are like kind of one and the same. Characters that are acting against themselves in order to get something
Yeah.
moving. So it's like I need the specific instance because people are bringing up like arguments that happen in Ruby, and it's like yes, that would happen in Ruby. That does happen in
Yeah.
Ruby. That characters are acting
a lot.
in favor of the plot, but they're not characters. They're acting against their own character. There's a difference in that argument.
Oh, hi Nora.
Yeah.
Did see
And
you.
for Isha, I would say that it's not true because her whole motivation is exactly how I described it.
Perfect example. Maddie has much less character than Isha, by comparison.
Oh yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
And yet you don't see anyone saying that Maddie doesn't have any character.
Yeah, like if
Maybe.
anyone had to argue that a character is doing nothing but being a tool for the plot, I would say that it's Maddie.
Yeah.
But yeah, now we're in a scene where Caitlyn and Maddie are going over basically the fact that it's a copycat Jinx, but there's no harm being done. It's just vandalism and disruption. And Maddie's observation is, I think we've made him desperate for something to believe in, which is interesting. This doesn't have to change what we talked about this morning, which I guess implies that this episode is all happening just concurrently.
Yeah.
Quite the familiar face these days, of course. Yeah, Ambessa just storms in here as like, we want a private audience, and we get a few looks that may indicate something between Maddie and Ambessa, but nothing clear. Nothing super obvious. It's fine. I'm not saying anything good or bad about it. It's just a thing.
Okay.
How exactly does impersonating Jinx help making Jinx become a hero? How would impersonator actions change how she currently acts?
Because
the idea.
it's
Oh god.
like there's already the idea that Jinx is someone to rally behind. So by Isha doing all of this stuff and acting like she is Jinx is going to make people want to rally more because they get the impression that she's actually doing things in order to help their cause.
Yeah, because like Jinx already has it in her head that it's like, oh, I'm not really all that or whatever. And Isha's going out there and being like, no, the proof what I'm doing is literally the proof that they still believe in you. You should probably get back out there.
Yeah.
There's
it's a motivating factor.
It's not a perfect plan, obviously, but she's like 8, so that makes sense.
There's a song that I had been listening to on occasion that is all about like being a legend and how they just let the rumor spread because the idea of somebody that's intimidating or someone who is legendary is much more important than actually being that person.
Sure.
So, Ambessa basically is like, hey, Caitlyn, maybe don't sleep with your subordinates, which I do find it interesting the levels of reverse psychology going on between everyone that's manipulating Caitlyn. It's like, yeah, don't do these things. Don't do these things. And it's just like, Caitlyn's like, I'm going to do these things. Like, all right. Warned you.
Yeah.
Okay.
And immediately Caitlyn's like, oh, that's not what you came here to tell me. And, Ambessa's like, okay, here's how how things are going to go down just because we ignite, it's igniting more resistance now that Jinx has returned. However, now we have her trail. So we're going to try and track her down. And basically Ambessa is trying to encourage her towards like, oh yeah, no, go move forward with this. We can track down her. And Caitlyn's like, I'm sorry. Wait, you thought it was encouraging that your guy was doing a police brutality down there? Like he was the one instigating violence? And Ambessa just flat out calls out, you don't trust me. And Caitlyn's like, the blade cuts both ways. We just use your same phrase against you. Yeah, and clearly Ambessa is very impressed with Caitlyn, but also very frustrated with her. It's an interesting dynamic to see the power pull between them. If it wasn't Jinx at the checkpoint, she knows where she is. And that's an interesting assumption. Why would anyone know exactly where she is? It's a jump of logic, which Ambessa seems to make a couple of those. God, I wish I had someone who was much more critical of the show than because I feel like I'm the most critical one here, and
Look, it has to be one of us.
Okay,
And it just falls to you this time.
Yeah, I guess. I mean, I can maybe play a little bit of that game if you want to. But, like, so you're saying that, yeah, it's a bit of a jump to say that any of these, like, Jinxer people might know where Jinx is?
Yeah, which I find just interesting, and it's like just trying to encourage Caitlyn to keep moving, I suppose. I could definitely see that as a argument for her doing this. And of course, Caitlyn, someone pointed out, why is peace the justification for violence? Why is it always? And it's like, yeah, it's a simple but good observation.
Yeah, big theme.
This gets Ambessa thinking, and she starts literally stoking the flames, which I love this visual symbolism. It's a great thing in the scene.
It's really good. I would imagine that, like, the whole thing with capturing or incarcerating perceived Jinxers or whatever, or just Zaunites in general, to try to find Jinx is just a pretext for Ambessa to maintain her hold on the city.
Yeah, I mean,
at least that I would imagine that's like the smart decision. So she's just trying to goad Caitlyn further here.
Oh, it's because it's a unique tech. That actually makes a lot of sense. That it's like actually very unique. Like the technology used is a thumbprint for Jinx, which that actually makes a lot of sense to me.
Yeah,
there's also that. Yeah.
But you will never rest knowing that she's out there. Basically, it's Ambessa saying, like, the heart doesn't still from these kinds of moments.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, maybe you have the strength that I do not to forgive. And it can't go without saying the visual here. This is highlighted by Smaller Soul, but I noticed that on my first watch as well. The split diopter shot, very nice touch, having that blurred line between them to signify the change in lens. That's a really, really neat thing they managed to do here. Very much they had fun with the different kinds of cameras they used in quote-unquote reality. But basically it's Ambessa saying, like, bitch, you're totally not over this. And if you are, you're stronger than I am. But, it's your call.
Right.
So then we return to Sallow, who is basically not having a good time.
No, he really fell to pieces after he lost his legs.
Yeah, and especially after the council's been disbanded. There is no more council anymore. So he's basically got no power.
Poor Josh Keaton.
Oh gosh, look at his legs too. They're like, I don't think that's just the paint. That they look bruised.
Oh really? Hold on, I didn't see that.
Clicked the wrong thing. Yeah. Oh, yeah, there.
Oh,
that
damn,
is fucking necrosis setting in. Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
I did not notice that. I thought they had just had lines there, but like that is so much worse. Lest, do you fuck
Maybe
this guy?
that's just really bad paint.
Hopefully not.
I mean, like, her job is like.
I mean, depending on how severe the injury, it might not even work down there. So probably not.
For less sake, we can hope so. Poor Sallow, though. But I don't really have much sympathy for him. He's kind of a dick.
I mean, he's not going to be around much longer, so it's probably for the best.
What? No, he's gonna have live a nice long life after he gets told about some life-saving miracle cure.
Not with that necrosis creeping in.
Plus, you want a
Right.
few councils.
Never learned anything about the young Medarda, did they? Even when she's not here, she's all anyone talks about. She's the last heir of the great Medardas. But the writing's on the wall. Technically, it's on your leg. You're not coming back. Yep, that's true. And he's like basically very insistent. He's like, you know what? I don't want this next week. I need this tomorrow. The medicine is not working as much. And then she's immediately like, well, there's this healer down in the fissures. It might be worth checking out. Way on the fringes. Makes miracles happen. And like basically we're setting up for Victor's background, which I'm actually perfectly fine with this. I don't have any issues. I think this is actually a really neat way to thread things back in.
Yeah, this is a decent scene. Oh, right. Almost forgot. Let me see. Ryan Carson says in response to like the earlier question he had in chat, yeah, but Jinx doesn't really care about Zaun, at least not to the extent Silco did. So I don't think people actually supporting her would change much about how she acts. I mean, yeah,
don't know
logically that would.
It does.
I mean, even if
we actually see that,
even if
someone pointed out that like her entire life, she has been treated as a Jinx. She has been treated as this bringer of disaster and harm. And what we see at the end of the episode is a moment where this massive group of people, they don't even cheer her on. They all like put a hand on her. They're all happy to see her. She is saving them. She has done something right, and she's not used to it. But it's not a bad feeling for her.
Yeah, and people are encouraging her. But even if, that isn't the case and that wouldn't have motivated her, is it believable that Isha would think it would? Yes, because she's a child.
She wants people to see her as the hero that she sees. Like, she wants that for her because it's something that, like, she feels that Jinx deserves.
That's what I've been saying this whole time. Wow.
Yeah, it's not that, like, Isha knows that it will help Jinx. She thinks that this is just what Jinx is due.
Yes.
And that's like the simple mind of a child making that logical leap, which I completely see. We want our heroes to be people who are children want their heroes to be venerated.
Yeah, it's a case of like one character seeing a different character in a way that they don't see themselves. That happens all the time.
It's why you see so often people that when you tell them their favorite character is actually poorly written, they will lash out at you because they don't want to see what they appreciate or love torn down. And it gets so much more visceral when it's someone personal to them. Like if you tell someone, hey, your dad is a complete jerkhole and he fired me from the job unjustly, and that person venerates their dad, you're about to have a fight on your fucking hands. Like that's
pretty much
like that's the kind of mentality you got, and you gotta remember that's amplified even more with a child. Like rationality, like this is the case of like an illogical motive, but it's rational from character writing standpoint.
But remember, Isha doesn't have a character. Okay, let's remember that, guys.
Right. So we see
I don't know.
Savika has shown up, and it looks like she's modified her arm. It's actually been like I think. Yeah, I don't think it any longer has the randomizer on it. Like it still has the slot machine, but I don't think it has the pull tab anymore. So I'm pretty sure she's found a way to streamline the mechanics. Which,
Yeah, it makes sense. It's been a few months.
Yeah, I think there's a novelty in the randomness, but I don't think she would have kept that around after the first fight. I think she would have modified that out. So, there's a rally that's going to be happening at Vander's statue. why is there a rally that's going to be happening at Vandra's statue? I know there's people that are talking about Jinx's return, but why are they rallying behind that?
Like at the specific place?
Yeah, why are they going? Like, why is there a rally? I guess for Jinx. Like, what's the goal there? Like, what are they planning to do? Like, it's actually an interesting question that was raised to me. Is like, what is the purpose of the rally, other than I guess, what form of resistance out in the open, at a public space, where you can easily be attacked? Is like that's kind of a weird way to go about it. I was kind of stumped by that. I think that might be a problem worth considering in the writing.
Yeah, that is a good question. Like, I was going to say, oh, maybe the freaking enforcers weren't really going around there, but it's like, no, they've been cracking down on the Undercity, so yeah, why did they have it at the statue? Huh.
Wait a minute. I just had a thought.
What?
Go back. So Savika enters. She says, "You could have warned me." Okay, so this is happening after the attack. Got it? Yeah?
Yes.
You're stunned at the checkpoint. Oh, yeah. By the way, this confirms that Jinx had absolutely no idea that what Isha was doing.
Isha did this, yeah.
Yeah.
And, like, she completely figures it out, like, right there. Like, hee, I'm just being cute. Well, however it happened, the whole city is buzzing saying you're back. And, like, Isha's excited by that. You can tell that Isha really wanted this to happen.
Yes.
Make a world of images showed up. So, was this rally planned before or after this attack? This is actually very important for the plot.
Huh.
Because if this rally was only planned after the attack, then the guy that they captured at the checkpoint, Mr. Mohawk Backup Drummer Man, would not know that this rally is happening and thus would not have been able to give it to Rictus later in the episode. So I guess we have to presume that this rally was going to happen before the attack that everyone thinks Jinx did and is being kind of hijacked in tone because of the attack that quote-unquote Jinx did. I think it was planned after the attack, and this seems like a spring rally. I think it was to form a new type of Zaun leadership after the Chem Barons have been taken out. Probably a leadership similar to Vander. Yeah, but why wouldn't the people have done that in the months between? It's been months.
Also, why would they have this meeting out in the open? That's probably like the even bigger thing for me. Like even if you want to say, okay, it took them a few months to recuperate and try to decide like, hey, there's gonna be some new leadership around here. Like them actually having this one out in the open where they can probably be arrested for fucking terrorism, potential terrorism is a bit of a yikes, a bigger yikes.
Yeah, the more I think about it, the rally is a rough thing in the writing.
BRB real quick.
No, we're down even more people now.
Oh no, we're disappearing one by one.
Twilight and Celt.
No.
We get some fun visual imagery. Jinx can no longer throw up the middle finger. Spent his whole life trying to rally the Undercity together. Stupid joke that it is, you have the chance to pull it off. So basically, it's implying that Jinx is now a uniting figure of the underground, which interesting considering she did kill a whole bunch of people. She was also a notorious criminal to them too, not just Piltover. In fact, she was only really on Piltover's radar during the events of season 1, after she basically bombed a whole bunch of shit. I before that, she was just a menace down in the lanes for Silco as an enforcer. So it is interesting that people would see her as a uniting factor.
No, I can see that. I can see that quite easily, actually, because it's a sort of like the enemy of my enemy is my friend sort of thing, where yeah, there is this person that we didn't like, but now they're doing something that we do like, so now we do like them.
Also, there was never a power grab when the Chem Barons got taken out. There, for all we know, there was never time for a power grab. They went into martial law pretty quickly, by my understanding, after the Chem Barons went down. Like, I don't think the hit squad was down in the lanes long enough. Hi everyone. I just wanted to say, wanted to show support to the stream and say I finally joined the Tundra. Good night. Good night, Sora. Thank you for joining. We're glad to have
thanks
you.
for joining. Good night.
And so Jinx is basically like, I'm not interested. And Zavika's getting pissed about how much Silco sacrificed. Do you know how much I sacrificed? He believed in your potential. And we're getting flickers of Jinx's psychotic breaks kind of bleeding through.
Yeah, because she's no longer in a stable place thinking about Silco now.
Yeah. And Jinx gets angry that he died, which, you know, fun. We're having a rally tonight. Vander's statue. Firelights, your fans, anyone I can bring to the table. Stick your head in the dirt if you want. But if it is fantasy, you've been living out there. So this is Savika's attempt to unite the city. Why wasn't this done sooner? Like, that's, like, the big question is, why haven't you done anything? Like, why haven't you tried anything like this sooner? And if it was the Jinx thing that brought it about, that guy that got captured earlier wouldn't know anything about it. So it's like, it's... I'm a bit lost on what's happening in this particular order of events.
Well, I don't know, because, like, who knows when that guy got released? And when he got released, why would you think that nobody told him about it? And then all of a sudden he just starts, like, building things up and all that kind of stuff.
What, the Mohawk guy?
Yeah, Mohawk guy.
He's still in prison up until during the rally. Like, he's been in prison since the checkpoint bombing.
Oh, okay. Well, so then what do you mean, like, he knows about it and whatever?
So the rally would have been planned before the bombing at the checkpoint happens. But
that could be why he got hit in the first place.
True. No, well, yeah, he was also a jinxer. So, like, he had, like, the blue hair and everything. That's why he got taken in the first place. But, like, what I mean is, it's kind of feeling like this rally is only happening because now there's momentum as a result of Jinx bombing the checkpoint. But Jinx bombing the checkpoint is when the guy got arrested, so he couldn't know about the rally to give the information to Rictus, and then they couldn't go to the checkpoint. Or they couldn't go to the rally to arrest a bunch of people in this episode. It's like, it's this weird, like, I would have to presume the rally was already going to happen, but everything else makes it indicate as though it was only going to happen because of Jinx. Or because of Isha, I should say. Because of the Isha thing.
No, because we've been seeing this build up for a long time. It's just the bombing at the checkpoint is the last part of it. Because, like, I think that the rally was always going to take place, and it probably wouldn't have been enough to unite everyone, but it was still an attempt. But the bombing at the checkpoint was the last thing to push it over the edge, sort of thing.
It's just
so in order to give the information to Rictus, it would only make sense that it was already being planned.
Yes, that's why I'm just like I'm iffy on it. There's nothing directly contradicting it.
I think that you're putting too much weight onto the bombing at the checkpoint as being the single uniting factor to this whole thing.
To be fair, that is how Savika's playing it up.
Well, yeah, but she's trying to motivate Jinx to actually do shit and not sit on her ass.
I think I'll disagree on that, because I think Savika speaks her mind a lot more clearly. I don't think she's, like, even manipulative in that regard. She's just very...
Well, yeah, no, I'm not saying that she's manipulative or that she's not honest, but she's still... Just because you're honest doesn't mean that you can't try to get people to do what you want.
Oh, you know, yeah, I'm not saying that either. I'm just... I think that Savika genuinely believes that the bombing is the, like, key in uniting.
Okay, but just
everybody.
because she believes something doesn't mean that makes it true.
But she's the one organizing the rally, so I'm just like, I'm not clear on. I want to know the order of events. That's all I want to know because I'm a little bit lost on if that played a factor or not. It felt like it did based on what she said, but it's very possible she's just capitalizing on something that just happened, and I'm taking that as what is actually going on. It's just a little bit wonky in how it's conveyed.
Just Occam's razor at, least amount of assumptions or whatever.
Yeah, Occam's
Is that
shark-toothed
that
arm.
Yeah. Is that the actual
Yeah, that's Occam's razor is the remove the cut away the most unlikely circumstances.
Get rid of all of the bullshit and just go for the straight, most simple answer.
Yeah. And what's interesting here is we see Isha is disappointed in how Jinx reacted. It's very clear that like Jinx is not reacting the way she expected.
Well, yeah, because she did expect that the bombing was actually Jinx. So she was probably going to try and help with this stuff, and then for a moment there she thought that Jinx was actually kind of on board with all of this. So she's like, well, why didn't you fucking tell me? And she's like, tell you what? And it's like, oh, well, fuck.
Yeah. So then we get Jinx talking to Silco's chair, trying to work things out. And it's like, basically, after killing him and getting endeared to Isha, she's losing her edge. And she's like entertaining the idea of like what it means to be a hero for her. It's like, man, this place is screwed up if that's the case. And it's like, oh, I owe it to you. Like, I actually do kind of owe you for I killed you, and I got to keep your dream going because, like, I didn't, you didn't deserve that. Or maybe you did. I don't know. But she's also conflicted because she has something going on, something that stabilizes her. Doesn't want to mess it up. Very natural reaction to things. And I think there's actually a really good talk out scene for Jinx where we kind of get a nice glimpse into her head, which honestly, I don't feel like we get a lot of those this season. We don't get a lot of like deep glimpses into people's thoughts necessarily.
Well, like as much as nice as they are, they do take up a lot of time. So like if we have 15 different talk scenes like that, that's quite a lot of time.
It can be overwhelming, yeah. There are some people who believe killing Isha off was repetitive and unnecessary, thinking she should have lived. Maybe he shouldn't have died. Baby Blue, you killed him, which again, no one knows how. You just find a body in a shop. Like, we don't know how people found him. Which we've already explored that can of worms back in episode 2. That's a whole thing. I think the rally was always going to happen. The bombing made Savika more anxious yet hopeful Jinx was involved because Savika thinks she needs to be someone's number 2. Okay. Interesting. And she's like reflecting on like why Silco did what he did. Revolutionary game. And she's actually kind of calling out for her psychotic episodes to talk to her.
Right.
Yeah.
Which I find interesting. It's like her finally fully grieving. It's like the grieving is finally clicking in.
Yeah, and that makes sense because like not everybody grieves right away. I'm kind of one of those people. So like when friends and family have died, it didn't click right away, and people think that I'm kind of heartless because I'm not like reacting, and then like days later is like suddenly I'm just a fucking mess.
I mean,
that's fair.
With her, I think that there's a little bit of like cognitive dissonance going on top of that. So like, not only does she probably have a delayed response, but she's also refusing to actually fully admit that he's gone.
Yeah. So we get a mirror scene to that with Caitlyn at the statue of the counselors, which actually is now like in a garden somewhere. I guess they moved it from where it was, or maybe they just had like a big awning over it. I'm not entirely sure, actually.
Well, I think that when we first saw it, that was for display purposes, and then
It would be moved to a
afterwards,
permanent location.
yes.
Okay, makes sense. So yeah, we get a bunch of things paralleling each other. She's like putting this candle at the memorial, which is nice, doing it for her mom. And then, backup drummers getting the shit kicked out of him. And
He could be a backup dancer if you wanted to. I don't know what Rock Band needs, but
we also get Batman leaving a candle at the memorial for the Fireflies and all the people that were lost in Zaun. Now, I have a bone to pick here. Echo is in the exact same style as everyone else. How? Even like there would be a slight difference, right? It would be because like this Echo was the one that painted all these, wasn't he?
I don't
Did we
think
know that?
that's ever been confirmed.
I thought
that
it was
he
Echo
painted them.
because he's the artist.
In fact,
we know that he does artisan crafts.
In fact, I'm pretty sure in the scene where we first see this mural in season 1, I'm pretty sure there were like other people that were like.
I guess, yeah. I think
some parts of it.
That's right. They were painting the pink girl on that died during the shipping fight. Okay, all right. I stand corrected. I guess they're just very. They have a freaking reference sheet off to the side. Keep consistent art style. But he's given reference before heading off to the rally himself.
Hey, we got some diamonds in the rough in the Undersea.
Say goodbye to the tree, by the way. We're not going to see it.
Yeah,
think,
goodbye,
again.
tree.
I don't think we see it again, actually. Well, no, we see it in episode 7 when it's not this tree.
Oh,
Yeah.
wow.
And I mean, it's all leading up to this meeting at the Vander statue. Savika's looking up at Vander.
Firelights use AI and are confirmed.
and Savika's like, man, I really regret being involved in killing you. And of course, now that's where backup drummer gives him away. And does Caitlyn know this police action is about to happen? I don't know.
Probably not.
Also, Maddie is interesting here. Why does she have this expression exactly? I wonder if Maddie. This is where I wish we get more on her. Does she feel like any guilt for anything that she's doing here? Does she feel bad at all for manipulating Caitlyn?
I think that this is supposed to suggest that she does, but at the end of the day, she is still a soldier and she still has to do her duty.
Right, because she seemed like, even though she said that at the very end something that was very kind, she seemed rather cold while doing it. So it's like there are a lot of questions about that. Yep. So backup drummer's giving them away. We cut forward and just gonna skim forward a little bit. You see everyone basically prepping up for this rally, basically uniting a bunch of the entire Undercity. We got Jericho. He's in attendance. Big old fish man chilling out over there.
Yeah.
We've got
Goblin
Hooker, who unfortunately her voice actress passed away, so we're never going to hear her voice again.
Oh, I didn't know.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's why
That's
she doesn't say a single line in this season because she passed away. I want to say 2022. They pulled a Philatites from Kingdom Hearts.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Savika is basically making an impassioned speech to everyone present. I gotta go back because I get all these different lines in. It's no secret we've got history. Blood spilt on all sides, but we grew up on the same streets. I love the background details all here. Ate the same scraps. Like it or not, we're all in this mess together. Enforcers raiding our homes, Noxians down our throats, innocents getting carted off to Stillwater. And we see Singed in the crowd. Why is Singed here?
Yeah, that's one of the few notes that I know put in the in the server for us to look at about this particular episode.
Yeah.
My guess is that he wanted the place so that he wanted to get captured so that he can maybe field Warwick.
That was actually what I was thinking of too, is that he suspected that this rally wasn't going to go off smoothly, and he wanted to get captured specifically so that he could display his creation.
But why would he want to display it?
Why would he want to do anything with the creature that isn't directly related to his daughter?
Well, it is. I guess maybe he wants to field test its durability, maybe? But then you could just
I was just
unleash
saying
it.
field testing it was like the core thing.
He wanted to advertise his services to get to Ambessa to get resources. I feel like that's a
maybe that.
leap. That feels like a leap to me.
But then again, if he wanted to do that, wouldn't it be better for him to set that on some Zaun citizens instead of killing enforcers?
I don't think that he would have as much luck with Zaun citizens, especially because Piltover doesn't necessarily give a shit about the Zaun citizens.
I would say it's actually,
he-
it makes more sense to attack Ambessa and her crew and the Noxians to prove his worth.
Yes.
Yeah, there's that.
So
yeah, that makes sense.
that it makes sense then that he would get captured, because soldiers and police officers and all of that, at the moment, they're all like working for Ambessa.
Well,
Sure.
this then the presumption that a rally like this will arouse the attention of the Noxians and the enforcers, which only happens because they interrogated one guy. So it wasn't a guarantee, but if it was a presumption that this would be attacked by the enforcers and Noxians, why would anyone come? It's like,
Because what else do you have to do? Like, some people are feeling frustrated. They know that they're probably in danger, but they're going to do it anyways, because what else can you do? And when it comes to the likeliness of it happening and why would he presume that, you brought that up earlier.
I'm just a little bit of a loss trying to figure out what his, I know his end game, but I'm just trying to figure out what his means to get there is. It just feels like he hops around the plot doing his thing, which is kind of cool, but at the same time, it's just sort of like it leaves us at a loss of like just trying to piece him together.
Personally, I don't really get that impression. I think, especially given further clarification, I think it just makes sense that he probably thought, okay, if something does happen here, this would be a good time for me to get captured to test out my creation and maybe gain favor with the enforcers or Ambessa. If not, whatever. I go back to my non-goon cave, my science cave. Okay, I have a daughter waiting for me there, so I can't exactly do that. But you know,
it could be that like coming to this rally was just a shot in the dark sort of thing, and that if he got captured, then cool. But if he didn't, then he would find different means of doing that. But it might be a good thing for him to just come to this rally and see what's going on so that he can keep a breath on what's happening between the two cities.
Yeah, and given how much tension there is between them, with all the, again, a lot of crackdowns by the Noxians and the Enforcers, there is a decent probability that something would happen as a result of this. He probably didn't expect it to be as immediate, but
I would
say
actually,
that makes sense.
it would be kind of fun if like he hadn't expected any of this. He was just going out for groceries and like the food stands were all closed, and he's like, "What the fuck?" And he just follows people to the rally. Like, I mean, that sounds funny, but like that's like a very natural thing to happen. And it's like, I want to go. I need to go get food. Oh, where is everyone? What's happening over there? Just can I find my food stand, guys? I need. Oh, it's a rally. What? Think, oh, I'm being arrested? All right, wolf time.
Yeah. I'm not a fan of prison food, so yeah.
So basically, Savika's like, we gotta choose right now whether we're gonna throw in the towel or make a stand together. Not as firelights or jinxers or washed up goons, or washed up gooners, as Zaunites, and people were just immediately like, we want to see Jinx. Yeah, get off the stage, opening act.
God.
Someone start blasting that
Where's
rebel
our
heart.
waifu?
It's like everyone expected Jinx to be here. Which, oh no, the minute that someone is like, it tells me that Jinx is going to be anywhere, and I'm like, how do you fucking know that? Is it weird that Vander has a statue to himself? This happens to him, and he shows up and immediately kills all the guards that arrested everybody around him. I mean, that is kind of a cool thing. Savika gets no respect. No, she doesn't. People don't respect Savika. They really should. She's dope.
Yeah.
So basically, as everyone's calling for Jinx, Isha is the one that pulls basically the same kind of flair that was used in season 1 to show off, hey, I'm Jinx Light. I'm Jinx 1.5 and I'm Jinx 0.5. And
we are Jinx.
Yeah, and people were suddenly have solidarity of like, oh, we're all Jinx. Even the other Zaunites who are not Jinxers are in league. And Savika goes to raise her fist in solidarity, and ching, third time, she's down an arm.
Yeah, she just can't get a freaking break.
Yep.
No.
Zaunite rally turned into Woodstock 99. Oof.
Ding.
Yep, the enforcers and the Noxians have arrived to arrest the crowd. And, Singe does not seem bothered by this whatsoever.
Nope.
Savika removes her arm, and, I forgot, Rick, this is just like walking through power stomping people.
Yeah.
Like, look at this poor guy. Walks up, boom, down. This guy, by the face, in the gut, thrown to the side. Just immediately, this guy tries to put a fist in, and just by moving his elbow, pushes the guy far back enough that it just misses him. This man is a tank. Clotheslining someone by walking forward, and he's just like, oh shit, we're in a bad situation. Jinxer number 1, as we're going to call her, she's getting arrested. Savika is like actually putting up a decent fight, even though she has one arm. The firelights are getting captured. Everyone's getting just taken down. And he's just like, all right, now's my time. And she immediately suicide bombs Rictus, and actually does a pretty decent job for a gremlin.
Yeah.
Like, honestly, anyone that wasn't a brick shithouse, that might have actually done something.
Oh,
Yeah.
And then
they weren't facing against Diet Bane.
And then she's immediately paralyzed from the back down with a hit injury. Like, that hit should have been a clear I think there should have been more injury to a hit that fucking hard. I think we can say that there's a little bit, well, I don't know, it's still, looks like lower back, but I think her head in the second shot takes some damage too. I think there probably should have been more consequence than a knockout. Knockouts are not fun. So she passes out.
Experience.
And we finally get Singed, who's been surrounded, and he's leveling up a scalpel that's bloody. I mean, I know about modern police procedure, and this is justification to fire. So the fact that these enforcers are actually being really reserved by not firing at this guy right now. He's
100%.
He willingly drops it, but we see that he's carved a rune or something into his palm, which, ow, you kind of need some of those muscles, my guy.
It might have not cut deep, so.
And then he does the creepy move by squeezing his fist, and I'm sure that no one would react to that whatsoever. But as the blood droplets fall, we get the awakening of his creation, Warwick. How does any of this work? I'm not entirely like. This isn't Hextech, this isn't runes, is this Chemtech? We're never really given a clarification on what exactly he's using here to do any of this.
I thought it was just some like advanced shimmer type stuff.
I presumed it was some kind of magic, but I don't know. Also, I need to hit the restroom. I will be right back.
All right. Yeah, I thought it was some like Chemtech, freaking, what was it? Shimmer related stuff where it's like, okay, I gave Warwick an advanced scent that is trained on the scent of my blood in particular. So in case this happens, he'll track me down. But
I think that he's just attracted to blood kind of in general, but I think, yeah, it probably is like he focuses on the blood of people that he recognizes or has a scent for.
oh yeah, yeah, that's why I can understand him being like attracted to blood in general. But I'm saying like especially attracted to Singed. You know, which is why he managed to track him down all the way to Stillwater from the freaking cave.
Actually,
Which
I mean, if you leave a blood trail.
I just remembered, actually. We did see Singed in the preview giving a blood transfusion into Warwick. So
that's also true.
maybe there is something there to the extremity. Although the fact that Warwick would smell blood all the way down here, I mean, you've heard about like the legend about, oh, a shark can smell a drop of blood in an Olympic-sized swimming pool. And then Mythbusters came in as like, it's like anything else that you smell. It has to be there in the air for you to smell it. So yeah, they can smell it, that far away, but it has to take time to travel that far away. So, I'm not entirely sure how quickly this is happening. It would take, I think, a very long time for the scent of his blood to travel all the way down to Warwick. So I would presume it's magic.
Did.
I would presume it's magic of some sort.
Because by the time he gets there, Singed has already been there for quite a while.
Yeah.
True.
I'm pretty sure it's nighttime by the time freaking, we see Singed again and they're on the tram on the way to Stillwater, so.
Yeah. So I don't know exactly the mechanics that's going on here. I wish we got a little bit more on that so we understood. But we don't really get a lot on how Warwick works, other than he is somehow an abomination. Like, I have no idea what the hell it is that he's done to make Warwick. Like, we know nothing about that process, other than he stapled some wolves to Vander. Anyway, Jinx returns home to find that Isha is gone. And I think, coincidentally, it's the exact same time that Savika shows up to be like, yeah, by the way, they took her. And she's like dribbling ooze. I find this interesting. Why is her arm injured like that? She had a clean detachment. Like, she got stabbed through part of it, but like, she still detached the arm. Did someone like stab her in the armhole or something?
Was it a clean detachment? She had to like yank that thing.
No, it looked like it, like she detached it from the socket. So if I can,
let's see.
Yep. Ching, get stabbed. Ba-da-ba-ba. You're under arrest. So they start fighting. Singed is there. Okay, yeah, see, she detaches it. She uses the detach feature. See, clean takeoff. So, yeah, well, she's bleeding green ooze, I think, because someone just stabbed her in the armhole.
I'm just
Could be.
imagining that image where it's like, okay, she's just rustling one of the cops, and they're all like, you know what, fuck you. Just stabs a freaking shiv in there.
And so this starts to bring back Jinx's hallucinations in force because now Isha's in danger, and
Oh yeah.
it's possible she's blaming herself for that. She's now finally adding Silco to the mix. We're getting everyone in here. All the different people she's harmed and killed, they're all haunting her now.
Yep.
And it's, she's freaking the fuck out. And Jinx finally returns to who she was. So then we finally, that's fine. I'm actually fine with that. Jinx is back. Get the it's time for Jack to let her rip from Metal Gear Rising. Man, this is hard without our resident critics to bounce off of. This is
But what do you mean? I don't know what you would even criticize about that scene though.
well, I mean,
honestly.
no, not in that in general, but the idea is I need other people to help me. I'm hard carrying.
I'm sorry. I got delivered food. I am munching and crunching.
Let me see. So really.
So yeah, now Isha just coincidentally is standing next to good old Singed, who very warmly explains, hey, cheer up. We're not going to be here very long. Which I find interesting because he is definitely going to be staying a long time. She's not. I don't know if he's just trying to reassure her in a very general way, or not to sound intimidating by saying you won't be staying very long, which I could see being intimidating. But it kind of makes me imply that he visited that rally just as happenstance. I don't know.
No, I think he had planned this out, and I do want to say though that I like this because he had a very soft tone. He knows how to talk to children. He's very fatherly that way.
I love his as everything in this game this show, when it comes down to the execution of everything other than say the writing specifically, everything else is fucking 10 out of 10. That includes voice acting, that includes the animation, that includes everything. We just don't mention it at this point because it's fortiche. It's
a given.
Fucking gorgeous.
It's like saying the sky is blue.
Yeah. Like it is at the beginning of the series. It looks so pretty.
I was actually going to talk about the animation earlier because the small little movements that the characters have when they're trying not to cry or they're just about to cry is just so fucking good.
Oh, yes. Yeah, every little micro expression is so well detailed. Oh, what was I going to bring up? There was a scene in here that I was going to bring up with the micro expressions. Oh, I'm blanking on it. Damn, we've already passed it too. Clues us into the reveal of his daughter later. No, but we knew that he had a daughter. We learned that at the end of the last season when he saved Jinx in the first place, after episode 8. So we knew that he had a daughter.
It's just reinforcing that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Also
reminding us.
We finally get a completely new animation style, which I love they experiment so much, from the viewpoint of Warwick. And it's creepy as fuck with all this blood red imagery. He smells the blood of of Singed. And I do like the detail that he does actually look up at Vander's statue when he doesn't need to. If you actually look at the blood trail, it comes in from the right. He was dragged from the right side, or the smell is coming from that. And it goes off even more to the right forward. So it's away from the statue. But he turns to look at the statue anyway, there is something there that he remembers of himself. And he rushes.
I never noticed this on first watching, but you see the the veins on
His arms.
in Warwick's arms and stuff like that. I feel like that might be in keeping with. I mean, either that's just a cool visual to show how monstrous he is, or maybe that's just in keeping with the fact that what was it? Singe transfusing some of his own blood into Warwick.
Yeah, I hadn't considered that would have been an effect to do. That, or he's just seeing the blood inside of himself in general because he can smell it. Singe's daughter is a league champion named Oriana. Yeah, I know. I was.
Oh, is she?
Yes.
I didn't know. I didn't know that she was like an actual. I thought she was just like a background character.
No, she is a league champion. I believe that she was more mechanical. She was more like a penny figure in the original lore.
Oh, okay.
And the connections between the two of them were only implied, kind of like how Vi and Jinx being sisters had only been implied in the lore. It had never been directly stated.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Damn,
they were never overtly sisters. It was only like you had to read between the lines of some of their dialogue with each other and some of the other statements to other people, like Jinx saying, "If you think I'm crazy, you should see my sister." That sort of stuff.
Right. Huh.
So now Jinx and Savika are working together. They're planning basically to steal away on one of the transports into Stillwater, and yeah, they need to do the fun option because they can't swim their way in. I mean, obviously it's the pilt. You can't swim your fucking way in. You'll melt. And we get this goofball of a character. And I know this is a hotly divisive scene. This is where I really wish we had much harsher critics to bounce off of because I actually love this scene.
I'd say.
People call it Marvel-esque writing, which I think is an insult considering how far Marvel-esque writing has delved. This is the only instance of it in the series, and I think it's permissible, understandably.
Yeah, it's the amount of that kind of comedy that is the issue, not the fact that it exists at all.
Right.
And like, I'm sorry, but if you're getting so mad over Marvel comedy, why are you watching so much Marvel? It's been several years. You could have stopped. Anyway.
Yeah, I guess.
But to be fair, that comedy has infected a lot of things. So I understand why people were I think pissed about this. I don't agree because I think it's pretty smart in this way, but again, I would need someone who genuinely hates the scene to like argue with me on this.
I would agree because it comes with the idea of like, you don't automatically assume that the famous person that you're meeting is the actual person that you're thinking that they are. A sort of like, you've only heard about this person or you've only seen pictures of them, or in this case, I guess, drawings of them.
Yeah, I was going to say, like, oh my god, it's the Unabomber, right? No, you're not the Unabomber. Why would this old shabby man with a beard be the Unabomber? What the fuck? Like, why would you be here? Like, there's a bunch of Unabomber impressionists going around. Like, what?
Yeah. There are a lot of jinxers going around pretending to be her, so I can understand the idea of like somebody being all like, okay, are you really her, or are you just some glup shitto basically just running around?
Yeah, exactly. Like the comedy of it comes from the fact that it makes sense, not the fact that they're doing Marvel comedy. Like it's a moment of levity that comes from an understandable place on both sides of the characters, because Jinx kind of doesn't want to do this, but she has to because her adoptive sister is in there and she wants her out. And
ain't Jinx supposed to have a mental breakdown over Isha? No, she had the breakdown and now she has a goal in mind: rescue Isha.
Yes,
she's focused.
Sure.
Yeah. And this is why I have a problem with people fucking diagnosing Jinx in the fandom when they don't know what the hell they're talking about.
I mean, diagnosing characters in general is a little bit of a slippery slope. oftentimes
Yeah.
than not. Because
Let me tell you, this
kinda
character is
get pigeonholed.
autistic.
Oh my god. Fucking kill me. Fucking kill me in Minecraft. Holy shit.
Like, there are some times where I'm
Well-
like, possibly. I mean, that's an interesting interpretation. We can explore that.
It's a
but,
good
like,
Sure.
headcanon.
yeah, don't make that
Yeah.
like, don't assert that as fact. You can explore that though. If you want to just talk
Yeah,
about
that's
it.
the issue, right? Where like people kind of get so into the that sort of headcanon that they pigeonhole every aspect of that condition into the character, even when it's not exactly accurate. And to be fair, it's not it's going to be oftentimes it's going to be a losing battle, because portraying mental health in media in general, especially in like a consistent story, is very difficult, just given the nature of different conditions depending on what you're talking about.
Sean Foldark, I think
Yeah.
you're referring to Henry Cavill, not Cowl. And that was not before he got the role of Superman. That was during the promotion of Batman versus Superman. So he'd actually already been Superman a couple of years at that point. And he just stood in New York's Times Square, wearing a Superman shirt, no glasses on whatsoever. He just stood around, walking around, talking to people just fine. No one recognized him. The only people that ever approached him were someone that was looking for where a subway was, and another person that had mistaken him for someone else. No one recognized
Hey.
Superman.
I actually have a similar instance to this. It was just me dressing up for Halloween in my Raguna outfit. I had to be fair though, I did have on contacts, so they were blue, and I had a wig on. Same color as my hair, just short. I could have cut it if I wanted to, and it wouldn't really make a difference. But I passed my own cousin in the mall. He did not recognize me.
I mean, I was surprised. I've gotten recognized once out in public. You were there for that, Twy.
Yes, I was. That was
And I was surprised.
pretty
that fucking
amazing,
happened.
actually.
Uh,
Yeah.
Big YouTuber times.
But yeah, basically, Jinx is just standing out here to be a distraction, and this enforcer's like, I guess engages her in a little bit of wit. It's like, I'm going to insult this Jinxer before I arrest them. And actually, I'm wondering if like Jinx is intentionally trying to get herself arrested. Like if that's like maybe Plan A is to get arrested to get over there, but I'm not sure.
Yeah, maybe.
Whereas pants like that, I do like they bring out the pants because no one knows what her pants look like except for the Jinxers in Zaun. Like all the posters are from the neck up. So they knock the lady out after some brief shenanigans. I am a bit annoyed that they have to have the helmet tilted at the wrong direction. A, either to show how quirky she is, or B, to kind of show us that blue lock of hair and give away that this is Jinx, which I don't think they needed to do, and I think it's just kind of silly that no one notices. Hey, Bill!
Or maybe it's just because it doesn't fit.
I mean, I suppose, but like I would really try to hide my blue natural hair from people on this train. I know she wasn't actually recognized by that one guy, but the more people you add to a scenario, the more likely it is that you might be noticed, especially when you have a little middle finger that you've replaced that has a little smiley face on it in the style that Jinx draws. Like I find this scene a little bit questionable for like the nature of the stealth mission. Especially when you have like the prisoner whispering to them. I do enjoy how ugly like that expression the guy made
I
is.
forgot about that.
Yep.
God damn.
I mean, especially you just pissed this guy off. How is he not like, wait, that looks like something that Jinx would make. Can you take off your helmet for a moment? Like, you're just making more risk than you need. And I'm not a fan of how like, oh yeah, no, I'm totally the guy that you're here for. It's not as bad as it could have been, but I feel like they would have had a better plan that would have sounded more convincing than this. I feel like this is just a little too comedic. Like Jinx is
You're-
trying too hard.
I mean, it's Jinx. You expect her not to try a bit hard and be a bit silly?
I mean, they are trying to break into places, so I mean, I suppose we haven't really seen her on her stealth ops before. We've only seen the aftermath of them. So we get an interesting, questionable
typically not
moment
going
here,
well.
where it seems that Ambessa is the only one that maybe takes note of Jinx. I'm not entirely sure what they're trying to convey here. This feels like something that was like in a previous version of the script that was left out. Because it's like, why is Ambessa making a special note of this? Because later we see her recognizing this as Jinx, but we don't see that here now. It's like it's just a weird detail to add. Like, especially more so, the slow motion seems like a weird detail to add. Like, it's like we're really emphasizing this when this would be better saved for a later moment. I don't know. The only thing that I like about it is that Jinx is willing to go hot on a moment's notice here. That is the only thing that I'm... That and Savika being kind of not, uncomfortable with the circumstances. Subblock C, carry on officer, and takes Savika into the elevator, and they both start stripping down from their disguises. So it looks like that Jinx has also retrofitted her Hextech into her pistol, which she interestingly has the ability to do that. And that was going to be something of an idea that was pushed forward by Smaller Soul. And he had predicted, and again, he hasn't watched the rest of the series, he's predicting as he goes, that Ambessa is going to start looking to Jinx to be her Hextech genius, which I would have found to be a very interesting dynamic had Ambessa gotten her hands on Jinx.
Yeah.
It's kind of a shame that's never picked up on.
I actually
later.
thought of that. That would have been cool.
Now people do kind of bring up that it feels a little bit weaker having this laser gun now. It's like that is kind of it doesn't feel as powerful as I think it should, even though it does do an incredible amount of work. I feel like there's a presentational issue where they're trying to really match what Jinx has in the games, but it doesn't quite work. Especially because I think this might be the first direct energy weapon that we see in the series, aside from the Hex Claw.
I couldn't tell you. I'm sorry. I failed you.
Fish and mailed. We'll get them next time.
I'm just sitting here eating my Oreos.
But like, what was it? Yeah, maybe I don't know if I would say it has less impact, but if it does to some people, maybe it has to do with sound design. I know that can be a bit, of a big factor as to whether or not like a certain weapon or action has more impact. But...
That is true. Yeah.
Yeah. So
sound is very important.
Shame that no one. I'm trying to look over. I Know Nothing's notes. Shame that no one really talks about Victor or Jace, the two people that could have solved the Hextech problem that Ambessa is trying to have. Shame that literally no one kept an eye on them. I mean, I don't think anyone could have when they went down to a place so secretive that not even Heimerdinger knew about it.
Yeah.
Also, how did Savika get away? I just imagine she made a run for it.
Yeah, like she's already was like muscling through the cops during the scene. Although I thought there was like a split clip of her getting pinned. I don't remember. Also,
Jinx is a hero that can unite the lanes, but besides that one painting thing, she's done nothing yet. Is the hero of the heroes for one act of vandalism when things get turned into a political state. I mean, she nuked the council, and then she blew up the fucking vents. Like, and she was responsible for a whole bunch of attacks earlier. Like, people should look at that as like, I think a problem there is like people should also look at that as like you're responsible for bringing Piltover's hammer down on top of us. Like, I think that should be explored, the kind of mixture of feelings people have towards Jinx, but I don't think it's unnecessary.
But to say that nobody, to say that nobody would like rally behind her at all after doing those is, I don't think I could agree with that. I do agree that maybe it could have been explored a little bit more. But that's a different issue.
Let's see.
Should wait until you finish talking to each other.
Oh, sorry. Go for it.
No, that was Kaiser I was talking to.
Oh, okay.
But
Um,
okay, sorry, Discord shenanigans again.
let's see. But
We know that Raymond is long-winded. Sorry, Raymond.
I try not to be. I do believe that brevity is the soul of wit. Guess I'm just not very witty.
Damn.
You're witty, but you're not trying to be witty when you're doing like
Yeah, trying to be thorough.
breakdowns.
Yeah, I'm trying to be thorough. See, also like the music and the visuals for the play fight between Isha and Jinx. Fun stuff. Also, Count Kate. I want that coat. Okay, those are the notes. Been through, I think, all the major talking points, which sounds like most of this episode is really just the rally is the big sticking point for like what's going on there, and some of the characterization shift between the months. Otherwise, it looks like this is relatively clean. They sneak in, beat the shit out of some guards, and they let all the prisoners free, which everyone's like surprised by. And while that's happening, we get cut to Ambessa, who's waiting for her ride with 2 different guards. She's, I think, thinking back. This is where she starts thinking back to... Wait, what? How far back did I go there? I wanted to...
Yeah, you went really far back.
Yeah.
I gotta get a drink.
Yeah, she starts thinking back
I ran out
to
of
the
water.
person that she saw, and I think she's starting to put pieces together that might have been Jinx sneaking in. But that never really gets developed upon because, well, first we get to see the prison break because Jinx announces herself as the big damned hero. And this is a scene that I mentioned earlier of Jinx being validated for something going right, for her doing something correctly. And doesn't know how to take it.
Yeah, you can really see that she's nervous when they approach her without saying anything.
Yeah, you can tell, like, she seems like an animal that's been hit before. Like,
yeah,
it's very great body language when it comes down to it. And she gets, the first time someone pets a dog and it's not a slap, like having those moments of like, strays or abused animals getting shown love and kindness for the first time, and them being kind of confused by it and not sure how to like process any of it, and they're just kind of standing there taking it. It's exactly this moment. This is like the wild animal finally getting, or the abused animal getting treated properly, even by people that had treated them poorly in the past.
And it kind of goes back to what I was saying earlier about her psychosis, and how Silco didn't really help her through that. He kind of just let it happen for whatever reason. Maybe even perpetuated it in order to make her a good tool for himself.
Possibly. We actually...
I think the...
Oh, yeah.
Sorry. I was going to say that, in going with the whole Silco thing, I think this also feeds into like one of the aspects of being a symbol that ironically Silco was trying to instill in Jinx. The fact that, she can be somebody that can people would want to follow to enact actual change in Zaun. Of course, it's not something that really like fell in a way. This is like Jinx sort of becoming or further understanding what Silco was actually trying to convey to her, but she never really comprehended until now because that's how jacked up she was. She never gone through this journey.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Adam Zelke says, with the prisoners being grateful to Jinx, I see it as Jinx going, wow, I did something good / right and didn't fuck up / kill anyone this time. Huh. Yeah, there's that too. No one died. Everyone came out alive on this one.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, like, I don't think it's like even just killing that is even the issue.
Yeah, initially
it's more
at least.
So just
but Ambessa, I think, thinks better of like what she saw and tries to turn back to go make sure, hey, I think that was Jinx, guys. All while Jinx searching thoroughly for Isha, and we don't really need to peel it out too long because Ambessa now has a train car with a very furry friend of ours approaching very quickly. That is
Yep.
damaged, and it looks like a prop out of the first Jurassic Park film. Or maybe the third. Could be the third.
That could be.
And she puts on her game face because she's like, oh, this will be fun. And by fun, I mean not fun at all. Gotta say, I love Ambessa's weapons. She always has the best heat. But yeah, we get introduction
Also,
to Warwick.
I love the mask. The mask really works really well.
Mask is dope too. Yep. And we see this creepy scene with Warwick where he's this dark shape with red inside, presumably having killing everyone inside of there. And then he leaps out at her and her guards, and she has this moment.
And it
of
actually
terror.
surprised her.
Yeah, she's
Yeah.
terrified by this. How is she not dead? Like, all respect to Ambessa as like as a warrior, but she's not dead, nor is she maimed by the end of this.
Play dead.
Does that seem like Ambessa to you?
No, but I can see it as a strategic thing because she doesn't know what the fuck that is. She doesn't know how strong it is. It had the element of surprise on her, and it seemed like it wasn't gonna go after her because it was obviously after someone else. So as soon as she got knocked down and she wasn't moving for like a second, it moved on. That's how I imagine it.
True, although I wish we hadn't cut away, because I'm just like, Ambessa is just built different. I mean, I suppose she was wearing her plot armor. Yeah. Katars don't get enough love. They do not. Katars are awesome weapons. I love them. I love her chained Katars at the end of the season. They're like my favorite kind of weapon of all time, because they're like hook shots from Zelda, but weaponized. So... yeah, that's just a dangling thread of like, we really should have seen the fight between Ambessa and Warwick. I would have seen.
That would have been.
I don't like that we cut away.
I'm fine with it cutting away. Like it could have also been that even if she tried to fight it, it just was not interested in her. Like now that it was out of the enclosed area and it had space to move around, it was beelining towards Singed.
I mean, in truth, though, we're going to see in episode 5, it slaughtered a whole bunch of people on the way in.
Yeah.
Like, it didn't need to do that, but it did.
Well, that's why I said I think that she strategically played dead.
Either that or those guys were more like actively in the way of him getting too singed anyway. More so than Ambessa, probably. But I would...
Could be.
It depends on like how it went, and we just don't see that.
It's one of those things where it's like, it feels kind of cheap that they cut away. That's how it comes off to me. I know your mileage varies on it.
You're just too ruby pilled.
No, it's because Ruby pulls shit like that. Where we cut away for dramatic sake. No, don't. No. Things were getting interesting. Right there, that was an a fight between Ambessa and Warwick. Holy shit! And I know why they did it. I don't think that implied that Ambessa was dead. I don't think that was their intent, but that's what it signaled to me. Is like, oh shit, they just kill off Ambessa? Like, Jesus Christ. That would have been a weird twist.
In the game, like,
But no, we know why. So they wanted to save the reveal for the Jinx fight. So she finds Isha, and Isha is... She gently shides her. You're late, but it's like not like condemnation. She's not being super harsh with Isha. She's not being like, I can't believe you did that. I can't believe you ran away. She's actually being relatively soft. And Isha immediately hugs her. And this is just... God, the animation and stuff is just so beautiful here.
Yeah. Also, very happy that Isha didn't scratch her face on her belt.
Yeah. Like, see, Isha had like an itch she couldn't scratch, and it's like, oh, that's beautiful. Oh, it hits the spot. But these two's dynamic is just so fucking sweet, and it's so heartwarming to watch. And I buy it. Like, I get people being pissed at how quickly Isha is kind of integrated into Jinx's storyline, but I buy every inch of this.
Yeah, same.
Yep.
Like I never get a lot of people's hatred of child characters or child actors or whatever, but like I don't have that visceral negativity when it comes to that in order to just be skeptical of it. So
I forgot YouTube hates links. Found a place to watch anime. Grabbed old anime I saw as a kid. Martian Successor Nadesico. Spiral Bonds of Reason.
Oh, I've seen those two. Okay, Nadeshko is fun. Really fun, just like space mecha anime. With some of the voice actors from Evangelion in there too. And Spiral Bonds of Reasoning. I believe that's like a detective show. I have mixed feelings about it. Love the first half. Second half gets kind of repetitive and pretentious, but other than that, it was decent.
I never heard of either of them. Well, that's cool, Dakota.
Repetitive and pretentious. Sorry, were you describing the end of Land of the Lustrous?
Yeah. Holy shit. I still can't believe that Land of the Lustrous fucking ended like that. Like, Jesus Christ.
Okay, so I think I've been having in like my watch later for ages a video talking about the ending to Land of the Lustrous. I still haven't watched it yet.
Oh, yeah.
Did you like Land of the Lustrous in the did you read the manga or did you only watch the show?
No. I've only seen the anime. I don't know anything about what happened in the manga.
Because like I generally liked the anime, and then she told me all about the details of what happened at the end, and I'm like, fucking really?
Yeah.
Okay.
I could not
Dakota
believe
said,
it.
yes, I hated the second half too. Okay, base. Oh my god. Actually, if you want my full thoughts on that, you can watch. I think there's an episode of the New Types podcast where one of the anime we talked about was Spiral. So check that out when you can.
Nice.
It's on my channel.
Nice.
So
I absolutely would recommend Nadeshko. Fuck. I almost...
So
Go
basically the reunion is kind of cut a little short when Singe is like, yeah, so the lights are flickering. I think my monster is on its way, so I'm just going to lock myself back in my cell. Which is a hilarious moment. And a bunch of enforcers come down. Bunch of enforcers come down and are like, surrender and die. But when they do, Warwick shows up, and he beats the ever-living shit out of every single one of them.
Yep.
There's not really too much left to summarize here. He just tears this entire group apart. And Jinx does something that I think is maybe unwise, which is opening fire on this thing that's taking out all of the guards. I would have waited and not aggroed this fucking thing and just, seen if he was going to aggro against us at all.
I mean, in this tight space, he was probably going to go in their direction anyway. Like, I get it, but...
Oh, we get a little flash of Singe in his vision, which I find interesting. Yeah, he has definitely identified Singe specifically here.
Yes.
Adam Zelke says, cue the Mick Gordon Doom soundtrack, aggressive headbanging. Yep.
I mean, yeah.
Basically, this is like a Doom level. He just goes rip and tear. Destroys the fuck out of everyone here, and it actually scares the fuck out of Jinx. That's actually one of the rarities in this show, is scenes like Jinx is very rarely
people are
seen
terrified.
Scared.
Yeah, everyone in general gets super terrified of Warwick. I mean, and honestly, it's understandable just given the fact that like up to this point there haven't really been actual like monsters that showed up throughout the show. Like we've seen, freaking different races of people, different humanoids, whatever the fuck, fish people, whatever. But this is like an actual monster, like probably something you would see in the outskirts of Runeterra or something like that.
Yeah. So this is Jinx immediately going on the protective. Again, something that's unusual for her. She's immediately like, Savika, take Isha and get the fuck out. You guys are leaving. I'm staying behind to fight this thing. But the key part of this is Jinx doesn't think that she's going to make it out of this. I think Jinx is like, I'm gonna get them out, and this thing's gonna kill me, and I'll die a big damned hero, or a big fat hero.
Yep, big fan.
And this fight is kind of chaotic. I'm actually not a fan of the editing. It's a little too chaotic for my tastes. It can get very quick with the cuts and things that are going on. The slow-mo does get appreciated from time to time, but I find that some things get lost in the darkness. Which, I mean, it kind of works, kind of not. I wish I could make out more about this fight. But we get to see exactly how formidable this thing is because of Jinx moving so quickly against it and still being, like, not only outsped, but also outpowered. It's great.
Yeah.
And, of course, the entire time, Isha is just trying to go back after her and can't because Safika is just too damn strong.
Yep.
And, yeah, what follows is a really damned good fight. Even though I'm not a fan of the editing, it seems pretty comprehensive between the two. I don't think there's any major moments of plot armor or not. A bunch of people got. Yeah.
Pretty much. Honestly, although there are still like a couple that are alive, so that kind of feeds into what I was saying earlier, where it's like, okay, the only reason why he was tearing through them is because they were actively in the way of getting the singe. So it's like,
wait, if you listen closely, you can hear Isha say "mama."
Wait, for real?
What?
Are you memeing, Eric, or is this real?
Is that a meme or is that? She says, "Ah."
Yeah, no, she's just calling in general.
Yeah, I'm not hearing.
Yeah, I don't think she's saying "mama." I think that's a miss here. It's
Yeah.
still leaked better than Transformers Michael Bay. What? What?
Wait.
Oh wait, maybe there's more.
Oh wait, it's funny that the robot shows I like are parody commentary ones. Nadeshko is a commentary on childhood heroes, true. A very like funny semi-satirical one. Bokurano, oh my god, Bokurano is another good mecha anime. Kind of slow, but actually has an interesting premise that I would definitely recommend. And Die Guard is one of my dad's faves. Your dad's into Die Guard? Freaking base, dog.
Huh.
Go back to the start.
What's it like having a parent that actually likes anime?
All right, pausing for. Actually, I'm gonna thumb through.
Get her out.
All right, if the French get us, blame Raymond.
Really are big fat hero.
Gotta be careful here. Audio is always dangerous. All right, here we go. Let's see. Yeah, that's just
Yeah.
She's just trying to speak. I think she literally cannot speak.
Yeah, I kind of wonder if she's been kind of on her own for most of her life, because obviously there's no reason why she can't speak. It's just that she was never taught how to.
I mean,
and at this point, I think it's kind of too late. Like the developmental range for you to learn how to speak has actually come and gone for her. And we kind of know that because there have been wild children found who were raised in the forest or whatever, who never interacted with human beings, and they were never able to learn how to speak.
Adam Zelke says, you're right, Isha was just yelling in general and isn't actually saying mama, but it still spawned a whole slew of fanfics and fan art. I mean, I already equate them as mother-daughter. Like, I actually very much draw that parallel because it makes the most sense to
Pretty
me.
much.
I know there's the debate whether or not she's like a little sister more so. I could go either way on it, being honest, but I think like it's more of a mother-daughter relationship, and I think it's really fucking cute in that way. So...
Very
although
much so.
the idea of a heartbreaking last time seeing her and yelling, calling her mama for the first time, God, that would be heartbreaking.
It would.
But yeah, Jinx basically ends up defeated. No matter her shimmer powers are really powerful, but like just Warwick won't go down. She insults him one last time and tries to pull the pin on a grenade, which is, I believe, the second time she's tried to commit suicide by grenade and failed.
Yeah.
Second time this season, or
Second time in total.
I think so.
maybe. Yeah.
Yeah, it might be second time in general. Also, I guess the only I guess this is gonna be me role playing as a hater real quickly. I think I've seen people in regards to that say that a small flaw in this fight, or maybe a big one depending on how you feel about it, is that Jinx never tried using her bombs on Warwick during this fight. But I mean, I just interpret it as just like, okay, she's clearly faster than her, so she didn't really have the time to pull it out.
Well, I mean, like, all the same, you don't... Let me tell you something about explosives. They don't like confined spaces. Where are you right now? A fucking hallway. I'm sorry, if Jinx were to try and pull a full-fledged grenade right now, it would have ended her. I think that she recognized she was defeated, and that was why she was pulling a grenade now. Actually, as an interesting note, she failed to kill her father here. That's kind of wild. She killed her father once, and now she failed to do it again with one of her bombs. But as he's about to kill her, he recognizes the workmanship of her grenade. It looks familiar to him. And we see everything about him start to shift. His demeanor, his handling, he starts to quiet down and relax a little bit. He becomes more curious and confused. His eyes change color. And what do we get at the very end? But he sees Powder when he looks at her, and he says Powder's name. The Warwick's design is very goofy. No?
Really?
No.
The fandom don't like it because he's less of a werewolf now. He's less wolf-like in terms of his features. Like, he doesn't have a full snout or anything.
Yeah, I heard that critique.
But, like, I'm sitting here, I'm like, okay, fine, but he looks like a monstrous werewolf. Like, he actually looks like one. There's nothing goofy about that.
There are canids out there that have short snouts. Why is that a problem?
Yeah, the only I guess the goofiest that his design even gets in the season is like later when he gets fully like
episode 6
modded by Victor. Yeah.
Well, I would say episode 6 is where he's goofiest because he's like kind of domesticated in the light, but like at the same time, it's like that's like fine. He's supposed to be a tragic figure.
But
sure.
anyone who says that should not own this skin.
Hold on.
Oh, the one with the seal on top? The gag skin with the seal on top?
Yeah.
That's cute. Oh.
Yeah, that's fucking adorable. Dude, I instantly thought of like the freaking shark from Marvel Rivals. I don't remember his fucking name. Jeff, I think his name is Jeff. I might have that wrong. Can you tell I'm not much of a Marvel fanboy anymore?
Yo, Jeff the Shark. Yeah, sorry. That's the
Jeff.
popular one.
Okay, I had
now.
that right.
And then, that's right. We don't get an after credits this episode. That's the entire episode. We get the fight, and I think this is the first time we don't get an after credits in this season.
Right. Yeah, I guess in terms of overall thoughts, I would say that for the most part, this episode is pretty decent.
Yeah, it's really questions about the rally, Sin's presence at it, and some of the character jumps that happen are the bigger issues. And apparently, all of it builds into episode 5, where bigger issues apparently crop up for a lot of people, which I will find interesting to hear when we get to them. But overall, I like this episode.
Yeah.
I like Isha. I don't care what anyone else says. Isha is great. And she's totally still out there, guys. She's just in the alternate reality. Just saying.
Yeah, totally.
Like I'm struggling to kind of remember my exact feelings when I first watched this, because it's been well over a month now, I think.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, it was it was mid-November when we were watching these.
Yeah.
It's been like
so
2 months now.
it's been 2 months. So it's hard to remember my exact feelings when watching these episodes for the first time, but
there's also the problem
I do remember
we all watched them in like big 3-episode chunks.
Yeah,
so it's like all those arcs blur together.
Yeah, I do kind of wish that we were going through these episodes a little bit faster for that reason, but what can you do, right?
Yeah, I mean, if we're gonna pick it apart, we're gonna pick it apart.
But I do remember thinking that this episode was rather intense.
Yeah, it kicked us right into Act 2.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, it goes towards the problem where I think there's a lot you could have explored in that gap period, and I don't know. Like, I've been going over in my head. Like, I just don't know if I were to split the season in 2 to make them 2 different seasons. I don't know where I would start or end. I'm still super torn on where those points would become. Dakota Miller says, "Oh, I forgot War in the Pocket is another good robot show." That's been on my list for a while.
I mean, dude, you need even if you don't watch any of the other stuff in UC, War in the Pocket.
I was told that it was really, really good if you had seen the original Gundam. And,
it's even better, yes.
Yeah, I was working my way up to it.
It's really good.
I was working my way up to it, but I had never got through that. But yeah, no, I thought this was a good episode. I actually didn't think it was the greatest episode. I think there are other better episodes in season 2, but it's because I thought it was just mostly setting things up, and I wasn't a fan of the editing in the Warwick fight. Like, I thought it was a little too chaotic. But that's really it. I think we covered everything. Is there anything else we want to try and...
God damn, Dakota, you were just naming all the mecha classics in chat, aren't you? Jesus.
We have enough mecha on our to-watch list.
Yeah, no. I actually can't remember. I do remember watching some sort of Macross with someone way back in the day, and I remember actually hating it.
I just know that that meme that came from Macross.
Okay.
Mobile Fighter
The
G
only
is just good dumb
Macross
fun.
Yeah, the only Macross that I ever seen from beginning to end was Macross Plus. I never actually got the chance to watch the original series. I know I need to see that. I've heard people say to me that Macross Frontier is one of the best shows ever, and I definitely want to watch Macross 7.
Have fun and watch Wallace and Gromit. Just a juxtaposition. Oh, watch Macross. Watch Wallace and Gromit.
The greatest anime, the best one. Well, right next to Core in the House, of course, but
Mm-hmm.
All right. Well, if we don't have anything else to add, I'm more than happy to start wrapping up the stream here.
Yeah.
Adam Zelke says, "I would have loved to see what Savika's reaction to the fact that this wolf beast is Vander back from the dead would be." Yeah, that would have been great. Honestly, Savika just kind of fucking vanishes after this episode now that I think about it.
She lost one too many arms. She needs to mentally recover.
Yeah, she lost a few brain cells with that arm.
Well, and then she lost multiple arms, and she lost brain cells with each of those arms. So she barely has any left.
That was the green fluid that was leaking out.
Oh my god, we figured it out.
Bye, Savika. See you in episode 9. Yep. See you there.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, do you guys have anything you want to promote?
Nope. I'm just gonna try and start streaming again and not forget, like I have for the past like 5 weeks in a row or something. I don't remember how how long I've been trying to get back into streaming.
Right. Speaking of streaming, I'm thinking about streaming this week again. I'm probably gonna do it either on Thursday or on Sunday. I'll probably make a poll to see how people feel about it. But more importantly, I am hard at work working on the new video that I've been planning on doing for a little bit. It's a collab with me and Serial Navigator, CBF, friend of the channel. That should be out this week because I really need to get it done before things get started back again in university. Other than that, support me if you haven't, subscribe if you haven't, support me on Patreon if you haven't, and I'll see y'all next time.
All right.
Bye.
Well, I need to do my plugs.
Okay. I'm just saying
No,
generally.
I'm leaving.
I'm just saying generally.
But yeah, so subscribe to the Patreon, get access to the Tundra, join us for Bad Fan Fiction Night, just not this week, but next week. We'll be covering Arcane episode 5 next week on this. And then I have one more recording session for the My Hero video that'll be done soon. Still hard at work on volume 7. And Sentinels is still very much in development. We're getting some last minute voice acting stuff done. Not last minute, but like final voice acting stuff done. So very excited about all that. All right, there we go. Now we'll see you all next time. Catch you all on the flip side.
See y'all around.
Twi?
I already said goodbye.
Okay, all right. Bye-bye, everyone.
Yeah, it's like a
Bye,
it's
everybody.
like a cool down.
Timer.
Her goodbyes have a cooldown.